Okay, welcome everyone. We're going to excuse Councilmember Checketts for a few minutes. She hopes to be here late, but she is at back to school night. So she said she hopes to be about 15 minutes late. Hopefully she can get here quickly. Welcome to our city council meeting. We are glad you're here. We're going to just follow along with the agenda. We'll start off with an invocation given by Councilmember Larrabee, and then he'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our Father in heaven, we gather this evening as citizens of this beautiful community, grateful for the blessings that we enjoy today. We're thankful for the moderate weather that we are experiencing, and this time we pray for additional moisture so that the hills may be revived and danger of fire may be minimized. We're grateful for the service that takes place here in our city that improves the quality of life that we all enjoy. And these things we say in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Would the audience please rise and repeat with me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Well, first up next is our consent agenda items. Anything on there that needs to have additional discussion or changes? I actually had just a change or two in the minutes, if I can find where I was. And which set of minutes it was. I don't think it was the July 21st. I think it was the next one. Just under staff present. So we've got Eric Jones listed as a council member, and then we have Eric Jones listed with the police department. Probably Sean Jones. There was one other. What was my other one? I know you asked for clarifications on names. I think on those that were in attendance, I think it was Glenn and Leola Mickelson. We had Leola in a different spot, but then in the middle line, about halfway down, we had Glenn and Leola, and it said Mildren, but I think it was Mickelson. And I think there was one more thing.
Glenn Nicholson is on there at the bottom of the row, and so
Oh, Glenn. Oh, so maybe there's a Glenn and Leola Mildren. Maybe don't change that one. Because I saw Leola, but I didn't see.
Yeah, they're at the bottom of both first and second column. The Mickelsons
okay. It was on a motion. So on the motion, under consideration to approve resolution 2026-1010, it had the motion and a second, and then it had council members Checketts and Peterson voting and council member Grover voting.
Yeah.
But it didn't have council member Larrabee and Jones voting. Mm-hmm. That was it for me.
I move that we approve the consent agenda items as listed. This is Jim. I'll second it.
Have a motion from Eric and a second from Jim. All in favor. We're going to start with Rachel because, rarely do we start in the middle, and we'll go that way and then this way.
Okay.
Mixing it up. Aye.
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 Thank you. Okay. Next is our public comment period. If we have anyone here in person, we will start with you first, and then we'll go to those that are online. This is intended to be brief items, 3 to 5 minutes. Guess you don't have to go full 3 minutes if you don't want. But if it needs longer than that, we'd ask that you reach out to have it put on the agenda for a future time. And I'll just read our statement. We strive to act and speak with dignity, courtesy, and respect at all times. And we would ask that those that are here would join us in that. So the time is yours. And after we do in person, we'll go to those online if there is anyone.
Thank you, Dennis Hooper. I live on 1250 West, and I'm here as a follow-up to the Truth in Lending or Truth in Taxation meeting. And Bryce, I really do appreciate you answering my email the third time through, but you got me finally. And I want to thank the council for all of their time and effort in everything you do for the city. But I don't always agree with everything you do. And Bryce, you sent me some information on the projected population of Woods Cross within the next 50 years. And any projection is just a guess. We're never going to get this population that they're claiming because as I researched on the Wasatch Front Regional Council website, it says the Wasatch Front Regional Council projects slow, steady growth for Woods Cross as the city approaches build out. Aligning local planning with the regional transportation plan, growth focuses on transit-oriented development near the Woods Cross Frontrunner station rather than the outward expansion. I don't see how that little tiny lot up there is going to hold 1,200, what they say? They're predicting 1,290 new homes in that area, which is impossible because where I work in Salt Lake, they built this gigantic apartment building and it only has 200 rooms or units and it's 6 stories tall. So I doubt if Woods Cross is ever going to get that in one building. Also, it says build out status like many South Davis communities, Woods Cross is nearing geographic build out, meaning future increases center on high density housing choices rather than massive greenfield expansion. So we know that. We know that there's nothing else to do but either go up. Again, Wasatch Front Regional Council projects significant transit-oriented growth for Woods Cross, centered around the Woods Cross Frontrunner Station. The city's adopted station area plan envisions approximately 1,290 new homes, non-residential development, and enhanced pedestrian and bicycle connectivity near the hub. I don't see how that's going to happen. Now, as an auditor for the state, I always try to get other documents that back up my opinion. And this is from the Kim C. Gardner Policy Institute up at the U. It says 2010 to 2020 growth increase was roughly 16.7% to reach a population of 11,460 residents or 410 residents, outpacing the national growth. That was for 10 years of huge growth on the West End. I watched it all. I was there seeing it. And it says the current growth trend is nearly leveled off into a flat or minimal annual change of 0.3 to 0.4, matching local estimates tracked by the Kim C. Gardner Policy Institute. I just contend that because I felt like in the meeting, information was put out there that wasn't real. And Julie, now that you're here, I want to thank you for all your efforts in making sure that you communicate with the citizens of this city and all the efforts that you do to inform me and everybody else. One thing I would like the council to remove this picture from our website. This is not Woods Cross City. There's no golf course in our city. And I would prefer that we actually have pictures from Woods Cross on the website. And one of the reasons why I am here is because I did some research and says, if a truth in taxation public hearing includes false and misleading statements by local officials, you can challenge the accuracy of the data, demand a public correction, contest the contact the county auditor, which would be the county controller for Davis County, or the state tax commission, which is the oversight body. Now, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to put the city through that. But I think we need to be careful when we're issuing flyers that, mention 13 to 14 million for the new building, but it doesn't say anything about the cost of the park. I felt that was a little deceptive. And, also the population figures that I read off, I feel like those were misleading to anybody that was here. And I went home. I wasn't here to stay through the entire meeting, but I did go home and I listened to the full 3 point something hours of the hearing. So I listened to all the comments that happened later. And one of my big questions is, what are the plans for the community room at the Public Works building? Because you're planning on a big new public, room on the new building, but what are you going to do with the other one that already exists? Do we need more than one? And I also feel like it's government competing with private venues. There are venues in Bountiful that, offer public space for rent. Now, I don't know if you plan on renting it out to the citizens of the city, but I think that's a competition with the private sector. And the DeLuna property, you bonded for, from what I read back in September 17th of 2024, you bonded for $1.9 million to buy that property. What are the plans now? I feel like the city should sell it. And then that way we have developable property in the city to increase our population so that the tax burden is not as great on the current residents. Now, there's no way we're going to grow, like even Bryce agreed, there's no way that we can double in population in 40 or 50 years. There's just not enough room. But I feel like at the current market, the city can make a nice big profit off selling that property for development. And, you could put in condos or whatever you want down there, but I just feel like there's no. And another thing, I did read the agenda for your Thursday meeting. Julia invited me to it, but I wasn't able to attend. I feel like my big concern is that 5 million bond for the water tanks. How are you going to pay for that? Are we going to go into debt for another 5 million? And how are we going to pay for it? I just see the city going into debt for everything, and it's very concerning because, yeah, we need the water tanks probably more than we do the park remodel. And another thing in the meeting that was brought up last week is that all of the money from the rat tax, other than a small little amount, is going to be transferred over to Hogan Park. That leaves no money for the development of Mills Park in any way, unless you raise the taxes again on us. That's my concern. I just want you to think about these things that I'm saying, and I wish you luck with it. Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis. Is there anyone else here in person that would like to make a comment during our public comment period? Okay. Is there anyone online that would like to make a comment? Looks like we've got a few guests online that are not staff. If we'll give them a 20 seconds or so here to get unmuted, if they'd, sometimes that mute button is elusive. Okay, doesn't look like we have anyone online that would like to make a comment. So we'll go ahead and close the public comment period. We don't have any other action items. So that takes us to our discussion items. The first one is Lacey, Community Wellness Survey. And Dennis, I'm not going to respond to all your questions. I would love to have a conversation with you to just answer some of those questions for you. Our public comment period is not intended to be a dialogue back and forth, but I would love to have a further conversation with you.
And as always, you're welcome to reach out to me as well.
I have a safety concern. That plug over there, when you try to use it, it now shocks you. When
It shocked you?
oh yeah, enough that you're like, huh, well, that was a jolt to start today. So,
Did
So
you used to,
we should.
did you used to have straight hair?
yes. So
Maybe
anyway,
we should mark that.
yeah,
You're on it? All right.
yeah,
Get out the duct tape.
yeah. Sorry that.
You just got 120 volts buzzing through your body.
Yeah, ready to start. So I've never done this before professionally. So
Well, we've read your memo.
perfect.
So there
What do
you
we
go.
want to talk about it in my 46 pages of memo? I have some recommendations there that I have, and then I think the further discussion for it is during strategic planning and moving forward in that way. I think it's interesting when the survey is not tied to dollars, same things that are being said we don't want, we did say that we do want, and it's the same amount of respondents versus what we paid to have surveyed and responses versus what we just did online with no, they're within 1% of one another, the respondent rate. So
Okay.
some things to, any
To
questions?
think about.
Do you know, as you helped coordinate this, do you know if they do a follow-up survey
We can.
so many years into the future, or?
We can have a follow-up survey done if, within 6 months if they wanted to, based off of things that are happening. And then they do them on a 5-year rotation after that.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I'm
It-
glad we're doing this.
It'd be interesting to see how respondents change
Mhm.
over the next 5 years.
for sure, for sure. And so, yeah, we can go ahead and get that scheduled, if you will, and that, but
Yeah, even if we can do like maybe after City Hall has been redone and work on, maybe getting some feedback once it's been open for a little bit, if
Yeah.
it's not quite 5 years.
Yeah.
To get some kind of,
for sure. So,
I'm always interested in the data behind.
Yep.
Behind that help support the decisions we're making.
yeah. Any questions on those 4 recommendations?
What are your recommendations? I'm sorry, I'm not.
Oh,
Is it on your memo?
it is on my memo.
Fancy that. All right.
Yeah, just the 4 discussion themes, not ranked in order of importance or frequency. This is just the general themes from them, is community character and connection, which is one of the things we have talked about a lot as staff and council and during strategic planning, that it's a small town feel, but strong neighborhoods and parks and sense of community. Also more options here. We want to get together more.
I
We'd like
did
to
see
get
that.
together a lot. So then growth and development infrastructure, what does it look like? Balancing that with open space, housing needs, and community amenities.
So Lacey, on the gathering together more often,
Mhm.
that popsicles in the park was cheap. It was like $100,
For sure.
but we had a good.
It started off a little bit slow.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
But
people
it-
came. And so I don't think we need to have big extravagant events.
No,
I think just having like popsicles in the park, come for back to school or come for,
Mhm.
if we could do those when
For sure,
school
I
gets
think-
out.
yeah, I think some of those things that are pretty simple. I know the police, we started the tradition with the police going for first day of school. The police are carrying that on. They also.
Good.
Yeah, so there's like some definite opportunities to do smaller things more frequently with less cost, but the same amount of impact,
Yeah.
for sure. So,
One takeaway and observation.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily like do a control F and type in mosquito. but it was probably in there like 30 times.
Yeah.
And so,
Did
yeah,
you get on that, Jim?
I'm working on that.
Issue.
Like,
Yeah.
But
I had a personal goal that I shared publicly, you know, and I gave myself a year to get rid of mosquitoes. So, you'll remember
How's that going?
Yeah, how's that going? So I think of the things that we, you know, need to make sure we get a good feedback loop on, and I'll take that back to the mosquito abatement district. So they are looking into more effective, say, chemicals and sprays and patterns, and so that's always really good. Um, Another topic too that I looked at that was a takeaway for me was air quality.
Mhm.
And I always kind of look and see, is this within, you know, a source of, say, smells within our city limits, or is it just barely outside of ours? I'm looking to some of our neighbors to our south. I mean, sometimes it takes a little bit of good city interrelation in order to like approach and talk about, like maybe if it's a tar smell that's coming on the south side of 2600. Any ways that we could approach that and be diplomatic about it? I mean, it's anytime that there's industrial right next to residential, I realize it's
We used to have an air quality board, which is actually how I got started in my involvement in the city, was being on the air quality board. And we would just meet monthly with all of the surrounding businesses. So like Silver Eagle came, Holly Refinery came, all of the asphalt companies came, and then also the health department would come.
great.
And Utah Cares, the CAIRS,
Yeah.
they would come. And, you know, at one time we had air monitors up. I don't know if we still have them functioning. So I'm wondering if maybe we need to look at revitalizing that board. And even if we just did quarterly meetings, because monthly, you know, we'd meet at City Hall, we'd have lunch, and usually the companies would rotate who brought lunch and paid for it. But just having those mutual conversations with the industries, you know, they want to be good neighbors too.
Right.
But I think they get used to the smells and may not notice them as strong as we do. But also, I think we need to reach out to North Salt Lake and West Bountiful when we do have issues and just say, hey, this is your neck of the woods. You really need, like, this needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that falls, Bryce, does that fall to you and your friendship with the city managers, or?
I just think of air quality doesn't have boundaries like we do as cities, right? So
It doesn't.
so
Absolutely not.
South Davis, maybe even West South Davis, you know,
Yeah, committee or something.
committee or
for
something like
quality.
that.
I'd like to know, Sam, do you know if our air monitors, I know there's one on top of Public Works, there's one up on the roof here. There was one at Woods Cross Elementary.
That one, I don't know. I know the county switched their sensors and they have a new one at Public Works. Whether they went to the schools or not, I don't know. But they changed the style, so it's not the big bulky air quality monitors anymore. So we do have one on one city facility. It's at Public Works. The Division of Air Quality is about to do a 60-day study and put 3 air quality sensors throughout the city for 60 days to gather information, because this is part of the non-attainment area for winter pollution. And that's going to be occurring here fairly soon. But as far as the old monitoring stations, the county is not using them anymore. So
Okay.
I could email the state to see if they're still active, but the county switched companies completely and have gone a different route.
But is it still accessible? Like before we could access it through Utah Cares? Residents could pull it up. I'm just curious if that's
I'll
still.
look into that.
You
You
look
can
into
still
it and
access
see.
air data from the different sensors but
Yeah, that's what,
Yeah.
like the information that's collected. I did see someone commented about purple air filter, air quality,
Yes.
Yeah,
something.
I was
Yeah.
thinking about that.
Yeah,
That is actually
so-
what the county switched to.
too.
Okay,
Form of it's purple.
And that data you can pull from the cares.
but is that something maybe we can look at putting a few out in the areas. Like I know, we have the asphalt plants, and I hope that the air quality 60 days falls during asphalt production, because if they do it in the winter, they're going to have skewed numbers than they would if it's in the summer. So really, they should probably do both, a summer and a winter, but
Or spring and fall.
or spring and yeah.
Spring and summer. Spring and
And
summer.
You
Yeah.
know, what's
Summer
interesting about purple too is that it's generally say a citizens-led initiative. It's just people like wanting to participate. I wonder if that's maybe something that we want to lead, is people want to put air quality monitors on their house, hook them up to their network, just actively participate in the network. That might be helpful too, as citizen-led initiative, as well as DEQ, right? We recognize that they're an important piece of the puzzle there, and then whatever we can do in our public buildings.
So I just did a quick search. Meso West through this University of Utah has sensors spread out through the valley. They don't show one in Woods Cross. The nearest one they show is in Bountiful, West Bountiful boundary, but there's probably 24 or more just in northern Salt Lake County. So
We should reach out to them and be like, hi, remember us? I know we're the last city alphabetically, but we'd be happy to have you come and put a monitor on our building or whatever.
So I think years ago, the ones that were in Woods Cross, if I remember right, I think they were funded by Silver Eagle. I think they bought the monitors and then worked with the health department to get them connected to the system and figure out where the best place was to put them. Because I remember the same thing.
Yeah, it was after their explosion. They were trying to
and
be a better neighbor.
And, funny as it may be, that's also how I first got involved, was the air quality committee. My wife made a complaint to the city administrator about a heavy industrial user. And he called and said, hey, we're starting up an air quality committee. Would you like to be on it? And she did. And she couldn't go a few times, so I went. And I went when they went and visited some of the industrial users. And then from that and my interaction, that's how I got on the planning commission. And anyway, but yeah, it was a volunteer committee, not an official board. And when it first started, I think there were maybe 6 or 8 residents that were on it, along with representatives from a lot of the heavy industrial users around, because my wife used to go every month or every other month. And but yeah, something we could certainly look at reviving. And
Do you know why it got discontinued?
I don't.
I think
It used to have a seat on Community of Promise, and it just.
I think
quit
COVID,
coming.
it was COVID that
Yeah.
COVID killed everything.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's really when
Okay.
it stopped.
And it kind of had its ebb and
Yeah.
flows.
But several of us were on it for several years.
Yeah.
So we also did Curb the Burn. I don't know if you remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Telling people that one fireplace emits the same emissions and pollution as 90 Suburbans. So that was really an interesting thing to learn. That stuck with me. Like, okay.
But it would be really interesting to do it again in a period of time, to compare responses that we get then from what we got now. I thought some of the responses were great, and comments were, I thought, pretty open, and they shared their comments with us, and it would be great to look at it again in the future. I also love your idea of putting it on our strategic planning and having some more in-depth discussion about those areas and focusing on some of those, because those are things that have been important for us forever, right?
Yep.
Growth, how you do that responsibly, how you do that while still encouraging open space and all those other things, and what makes it a community, all those things. Our other survey that we did, some want us to get out of the community business. That shouldn't be the role of government, and others want us to do it lots more.
For sure.
And it's a balancing act of figuring out what the appropriate balance is
Yep,
there.
absolutely.
I had to smile about one of the comments. They said they wanted less car dealerships and lower taxes.
Yeah, well,
That-
good luck with that.
That is,
I mean,
that is not a equation that
one, we can't
But-
really kick car dealerships out. And two, if they leave, other taxes would certainly have to,
Be increased dramatically.
because a large portion of our revenue comes from sales tax from the auto dealerships.
we're very grateful for that sales
We are.
revenue and would look to increase that instead of doing increases to tax.
Yeah.
Yes.
I also think, Lacey, we have a couple of education opportunities, whether we put this in our newsletter or also, I would say newsletter and social media,
Correct.
about who manages certain
Functions.
services
Yeah.
that are done, like the mosquitoes. The city has, no control. We have Jim who can
Hey.
relay the
You
message.
could submit.
You could submit a
Well,
comment.
Single-handedly, he's trying to wipe out mosquitoes.
Yeah.
I will swat them and fog them myself. I
Yeah.
have that passion.
Every night Jim submits a fog request.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think we do have some opportunities for education.
Yeah.
For sure.
Also, like property owner rights and understanding that, if a property is already in a city, we're really limited on what
Mhm.
we can say can be built, because there's a lot of comments that the city's doing density and things like
Yes,
that.
For sure.
And that's not us, it's the property owner rights, but also led by the legislature. So maybe some just kind of have ChatGPT pull those out for you, and we can do a few did you knows,
Yeah.
just a little corner in the newsletter. Did you know, blah, 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 blah. you
Yeah.
know.
Absolutely.
So just.
So there's a lot
for
of
education.
opportunities there.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks, Lacey. Okay, banners and locations on 800 West and 1500 South. Sam.
Sorry. Back in first council meeting in July, we were just, as we're going through the budget, the question came up about where the new banner locations were going to be in potential spots for new banners. Let me share the file I've got. I've got it. Yeah. There's so much stuff in the way here. So these are the existing banners. I'll just switch to the maps right here. The round yellow dots are the existing banners. The triangular red spots are the ones that we currently have a permit filed with Rocky Mountain Power. We just can't go put a banner up on a pole. We have to have an agreement between the two. And the discussion was, do we want to place them more throughout the 1500 South and 800 West corridor? I shared maps in this about future locations, obviously to the west and to the north on 1500 on the 8th West, all the way up to 5th South and all the way down to 2600. These are kind of our main corridor areas that people are coming in and out of the heart of the city. Is this something that the council would like to continue to add additional banners? I've also got a note in there about Lacey shared some optional banners from advertising for like school. When the back to school time of year is, put a banner up for every public school and charter school that's in the city that has their logo and stuff, so we can honor the students that are going back to school and those that are serving our community and teaching our kids. And a few other options. We have Veterans Day. We have an option to maybe do some hometown heroes around Veterans Day as well. A lot of these things are going on a lot of other cities as well. I guess the question is would you like us to continue expanding the area that the banners sit and are at? And then the second question is, would you want additional banners to put out through the year, including Veterans Day, the schools, and a few other items that are listed.
So which employees are the ones who are maintaining the
This
banners?
is streets employees. And they have been taking care of them since July, August, June, July.
Remind me what banners we currently put up, please.
Spring, Police Week, Memorial Day. Oh, these are the change outs, but
These are the ones that are.
Spring, Police Week, Memorial Day, Public Works Week, Patriotic, Summer, Fall, and Christmas.
There is one that I couldn't find the original print of for Christmas, but there's 2 Christmas styles that we put up.
Are there times when we don't display anything, or is there always
Winter
something?
from Christmas until spring.
Okay.
That's the time that we don't have any, and that was
Well,
part
we
of.
should put a welcome with Frosty or something.
Well, and this is where we have a lot of options. Obviously, you can come with a custom design or whatever, but obviously the winter ones can be a bunch of different things. The Veterans Day, honoring those who have served, and then kind of examples of some high school banners that we can also take into for elementary schools and charter schools and the high school.
How long does it take to change out the banners?
Right now, it takes, with the existing number,
Two
two
hours.
2 man hours. And if we do go ahead with the ones we have the permit application with Rocky Mountain Power and those get approved, it's about 4.5 hours total at that time. And if we continue to grow it, it just depends on quantities of 10, 15. It grows by 2.5 hours every 10 to 15 banners location.
I'm going to be a bit of a fun hater. I don't know that this is necessarily something that needs to expand all the way down 800 West and 50. You're saying both directions to or to where it curves and 2600. I just feel like that's a lot of banners to have. I know Centerville has it on their main street, but their main street is a bigger, wider road, and I feel like that fits. I just worry that we're going to become like the parade of homes or something with all these flags, or just I'm hung up on the cost, the use of employee time, and that really is there a need for it. I understand around the park, and maybe we even put some around like Mills Park or Mountain View, somewhere where people, or even Redwood Road and 1500, we could put a couple there, because I know a lot of people who live way west never come up this way, and so they're not seeing them. And so I just wonder if maybe we focus on keeping them around City Hall like we have, and then if we really want, let's put them in some other highly visible spots that will reach other residents instead of just the same people who drive this area all the time. That is my 2 cents.
So Julie, is your recommendation that you would be great with locations that would be permitted, so that additional 13? So just kind of keep it closer to City Hall, so that
I would be okay with the 3 that we have already submitted that will, or that
13.
I don't see a need for plastering neighborhoods. I feel like just having it around the City Hall and include, those 2 that will be kind of tucked in with the Hogan Park expansion.
the 2 to the south.
Yes, the 2 to the south on 800 West. And then I would think maybe looking at, Sam, can you pull up the map of like Mills Park on 1500?
Let me stop sharing. I'll switch to my screen.
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
You're okay.
And then also if you'll then go down to Redwood Road and 15, 1500, yeah, and kind of the Mountain View area.
So you're from Redwood Road going into maybe the first roundabout.
Well, my thought is we could do some along Redwood. So I don't know, I mean, I'm sure there's power poles there, right? So even
Yes,
if,
they're all on the east side.
okay. I don't know. I like the idea of like the DeLuna property. If you'll scroll back up there. You know, we could put some on those poles just, and then the side where the neighborhood, maybe some around the neighborhood or the park. I don't know. That's just, I'm just brainstorming, but I feel like that gets them out into the neighborhoods more than just two long roads of.
Would you be okay if we just move this to a strategic planning topic? I mean, we could keep doing this for a few
Yeah.
weeks, but if you're okay, we'll finish with what we've got
Well,
applied.
I mean, I'm one voice. Does anyone else like feel strongly that they want to?
I think expanding what we celebrate versus where we celebrate might be a better use of our dollars.
I mean, I know, well, I've got a couple of thoughts.
Yeah.
Just general thoughts. One is right now, all of our flags are on a decorative light pole. None of them are on a city power pole, right? Is that correct?
Correct. Every one of them's on a decorative pole that sits on city property.
Yes.
That looks nice, right?
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
a very different look
Yes.
if it's on like a power pole or something else versus this a decorative light pole.
Yes.
And to be honest, I don't notice them, and I wonder if because I've seen some where like they're in your face. I think they're probably a lot larger than what we have in some.
There's a lot of
cities.
different sizes. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like with ours, I literally don't notice them. I don't, and I don't know if they were further down the street or whatnot. I might see them more. I don't know. I don't know why I don't see them. Maybe I'm just blind to flags, but so I guess I wouldn't mind if it extended down 1500 kind of to the train tracks maybe, and then maybe just down the commercial part or something. I wouldn't go as far as you're showing, but just go down to the train tracks and then up past the commercial and call that good.
On 1500?
Yeah, just on
Yeah,
1500.
not
So
8th West, right?
maybe the few on 8th West past the commercial and those townhomes type of thing, but not past
not all the way
residential.
down.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't think it's traveled that much. I don't think it really has that much of an impact, and that's a lot of flags.
That's a lot of banners.
Yeah, a lot of bad, and I just don't see. But the ones where I've seen, I'm just thinking through kind of the cities where I've seen where there's a lot of banners along the street and there whatever else. I think it does have an impact on the perception of the city and on, oh, the city cares about, the holidays or cares about whatever. I saw one where they had all their they had high school athletes. They were highlighting down on these banners on these all the seniors of whatever. And I'm not saying that we do that. I don't know that that's, whatever. Or we could say these are all our Woods Cross senior athletes or whatever.
But then do we pull in Bountiful?
Bountiful.
Because we also have kids going to Bountiful.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We do,
yeah.
Yeah, yes, we do but we don't do the Woods Cross senior athletes. We do not the Woods Cross High School senior athletes.
The Woods Cross
City.
We'd have
Okay.
we'd have them from Bountiful and Woods Cross, but we
Yeah.
wouldn't have the North Salt Lake Woods Cross
Viewmont.
seniors, right?
Yeah.
I know I'm getting technical here, but
No.
but there's there are ways to celebrate the city, and I do think banners have that impact. And that's why for me, having them just around City Hall, for me, it's more about the street and the city and celebrating together than it is about focusing on the City Hall. But if we don't do them, I'm not gonna fight for them either. And I do wonder the impact it'll have if you have them on power poles versus these decorative. I don't know exactly how.
Yeah, I like the decorative pole. I think they look classier.
Yeah, but obviously, if you're adding decorative poles to added
And that's
adding a lot of cost. And I don't know that I'm for that.
And I don't mind too. As we were kind of talking about, like, okay, if we could always try to do a few more in each direction. I was like, maybe there's even 3 in each direction to kind of like get a feel and a look, and then bring it back. Right? I don't think there's anything that would stop us from doing that. I do like the idea of the festivities, and I know that we have 2 educators here. Do you feel that that's a celebration that you would like to see, to like recognize like the schools in the area? I mean, just in general.
Like a back to school.
Yeah.
I wouldn't see them because I'm at the
Because you're at
school.
the fair enough.
I mean, when we drive by, the kids would probably notice them.
Yeah.
Walk
Yeah.
to school, or,
Yeah.
when they're driving to school. Yeah.
So I guess what I'm, sorry.
No, go ahead.
What is the purpose that we're trying to accomplish with
Banners.
the banners? And create. And I think that would, once we figure out what we're trying to accomplish, that might give us the direction of the number or the expansion or what we display versus just randomly picking.
So why don't we, for the next months until January, when we have strategic planning, kind of pay attention to other cities as we're out driving, notice, where they have theirs, or, what it looks like, and come back at strategic planning with some ideas. And then Sam, you can look into some different areas besides just saturating one section of the city also.
And then come up with a plan of like a purpose, why.
The why behind it.
Why?
Yeah.
Because
I think Councilmember Grover was kind of leading into it, kind of gives it a kind of a sense of community.
yeah,
And that's one of the main things we're driving for as a city. But I can come back to strategic planning with some other locations.
I do like the idea of putting up, each school that's in the city, because I think the students will recognize, oh, that's my school, like that brings that sense of community more than just a welcome spring banner that they're not going to notice. So by personalizing it or doing things like that,
So
I'm all for that.
we have enough banners, and Tara can correct me. She ordered them earlier this year to do 3 to the south and 3 to the east of where we're exactly have with the Rock Mountain power poles. And then we can always relocate those if we needed to. We already have the mounts and the banners to put up. The question isn't that, maybe it's a question for strategic planning, is do we want to dive into in the next fiscal year to grow the different banners out there, as far as like the school ones, the all the other banners that we mentioned. So I'll come back strategic planning and have some additional areas. But if the council's okay, we'll go ahead and mount 3 in each direction that we're waiting on the permit with Rockland Power. Then it can have what it looks like on a power pole. And then like you guys mentioned, it's not so much saturated around 1500 and 8th West. We can then, I have mounts that we could, in strategic planning, we can discuss, maybe throw some up down on 1500 South and Redwood Road and stuff like that.
Well, and we could put a couple on 2600, as people are entering the city.
Yeah.
Maybe a few on 700 West. Like,
Yep.
I just don't feel like we need to have, hey, welcome to Woods Cross, welcome spring, welcome spring, welcome spring, all the way down as you're driving. I think that's excessive. I think just maybe the entrance points of the city would be a good starting place.
Okay, I'll bring those back at strategic planning.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Speeding on 1100 West.
Chief, Bryce.
Bryce and Chief.
Well, Julie, you asked for this to be on the agenda, and so we took the initiative to just try to put some information together. So you'll see in your packet, I've reached out to the chief to provide some information and to update you on enforcement action. Sam has relocated the signs, radar signs. We took them from another location.
Good.
And Sam has some data there that can show you what the average speeds are since last Wednesday when the signs were put up. So
It's I'm gonna, are you Mike?
No.
No, okay.
It's not here.
Mike is
Not,
not
Not here.
choose to come. Okay, all right.
I think he said his Tuesday nights are kind of busy, so.
Oh, I didn't see a response.
Yeah.
then,
So anyway, he appreciated that the chief has increased the enforcement action. He did notice the signs being put up.
Okay,
So
so let's see what we've got.
yeah. You want to review that information?
And I see Rachel went on a ride along.
I did.
And did you patrol 1100 West?
We did.
And what did you find?
Not a lot of speeding.
Okay,
I think there was one and he was going to pull him over, but they turned and so we chose not to pursue.
okay, so this is, so we have had some going 46 to 50
Mhm.
Correct.
and 132 going 41 to 45.
Correct.
So what I'm curious to see is if we can keep our speed signs up and keep collecting data and see if those make a difference in the speeding and see if we see these numbers drop when that reminder of the speed is going up.
Mhm.
Did you slow down?
No, but 1500 south is a drag strip. 1100 west of Redwood Road as well.
Yeah, I know it is.
We have lots of drag strips in the city. It's hard when you make roads that are straight, that are wide for safety. Then people just feel like it's their own little racetrack. And so
And
you'll
there's
notice
no-
in a lot of the neighborhoods, 1900 South comes down and it curves around, and some of those streets that are the longer streets, all of those are some traffic calming devices to try to make it so people don't just feel like it's a straight raceway. And it's the same problem we have down in Mountain View Estates. It's the same problem we have everywhere, is that but the problem is, I mean, they're all our neighbors. They're all adults and they all ought to know better.
Mhm.
But that's true. But for whatever reason, what they're doing is more important than everyone else's safety, I guess. People have to take some personal responsibility, and I don't know how we encourage that. Speed signs may help. My experience is they help while they're there for the first little bit, and then people get used to them. And I can tell you, and I had this discussion with some work colleagues from around the state that I go to a meeting with, and I get off on 53rd South and I go east up to almost where Vine Street is. And it's a straight shot. You get off the freeway and it goes up there, it narrows down, it goes from 6 lanes to 2 lanes, and it has a dip. It goes down by Murray Park and comes back up. And I'll tell you that it was pretty easy to go fast on there. And they put up one of those signs that shows your speed. And when it gets above a certain point, it flashes red. And knowing that one of my colleagues got pulled over there and it was a pretty hefty ticket, and that they patrol there more often, I do slow down. And I try not to go fast through neighborhoods. I'm pretty observant because I know that kids are
We
out
hear
and about,
about it.
and we hear about it. But I also have people right on my tail as I go through there every time. And I don't know how you encourage more personal responsibility. Tickets works for some don't care, but it's the comments from that meeting were that the people that have the ones where they have the red and blue lights attached to those same signs, that those they really pay attention to, or the frowny face. It comes up and it shows your speed, and then it shows a frowny face.
Shame.
Their mother, mom's look disappointed.
And when it comes up with a smiley face, it just
Like,
it's like
Picture of
this immediate
Sam?
gratification, right?
we need smiley faces and frowny faces.
So
Emojis.
I thought that it was really interesting because I just had this conversation with them like 2 weeks ago, and then I know that we've been having these comments but it was an interesting
Well,
discussion because, so I don't know. I think the speed signs help. I think people don't pay attention to how fast they drive. I think they just drive. But if you see a flashing sign, it makes me look,
It's your
it makes me
attention.
look at how fast I'm going.
Yeah.
But I also think if that sign stays there forever, people start to not pay attention to it.
I think Chief has something. Did you?
Chief?
I was just gonna say, I think you can look in the council report for this month and see how much our citations increased from last month. So
Good.
we have increased our citations versus the warnings.
I think that'll help. I mean, people are always pleased when they get a warning, but how many of them are repeat warnings? Like, do warnings ever pop up when they pull someone over again?
In the local files, yes, they can pull it up on their CAD system.
Do they normally pull them up, or is it
It
I don't-
populates when you run their name.
okay, so it
All,
does
all,
show,
all the involvements.
okay.
We don't just give verbal warnings, we give written warnings. Yeah. And so then that goes into the system, right?
And that'll flag, okay.
Yeah, I've got the history of location. So we've had some of these signs in certain locations for multiple months. And so if you want to see if that's a validated thing, that the longer it stays, we could
The
just in the
less
future
people
have Sam,
Pay
you know,
attention to it.
just do
Well,
a
that-
chronological time and say, okay, how much does the speed change? Sam's saying that the signs can do frowny faces and things. And another thing we could choose to do is if you want to just each year include in the budget, 2, 4, 6, whatever signs. What are they running now, Sam, for?
They're about $2,700 a piece. That includes the solar panel. So
What life do they have with the solar panel?
We've had them for,
2022-ish.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were first down, put on Mountain View Boulevard. And then we moved one when there was concerns about speeding between 1955 West and Redwood Road over by Odyssey. So we
Okay.
left one on Mountain View and put the other one for the eastbound traffic as people were heading to Redwood Road.
So we have 2 signs.
We just have the 2 signs.
It might be a good idea to get 2 more and put them on 1,500 while we're currently on 1,100 to kind of establish that area.
It would be
But
interesting to see.
It'd be interesting to see what the speed is, if it's continuing in that direction, east-west as well, or if it's just because 1,100 West has been widened.
Well, I think it's 1100 West has been widening, but like Dennis Hooper said a minute ago, he's been seeing that on 1500 between 1100 West and Redwood Road for years. So, additional signs I could purchase and install. Obviously, I don't have any funding for that in the current budget. It would have to be an amended budget item the council directed me to do. So if that's something you want me to proceed, we know the cost. It's a state contract cost. I can order some. I just need to work with Brian and Bryce to figure out which budget line we want to pull it out of.
I'm not sure that I'm real interested in getting more right now. I think maybe we put them in a neighborhood and let them be there for a few weeks, and then we move them and put them somewhere else and let them be there and move them around more often than we have.
I would ask that we move them, that the shortest window we do is 90 days, just so that just
because of the labor involved with
Yep.
moving them.
they have to pull the post.
When we first approved the 2, our original plan was to get more. And we haven't.
It's been in budget requests. It never makes it to the final budget. So
Yeah.
So we'll just have
So-
to remember that in January.
I've been on council for 18 months, and this was the hot topic 19 months ago. It's interesting to see this is something that does come around circle. I look forward to the continued discussion, and maybe that's a strategy meeting topic as well.
And it would be interesting to see the data of what its effects over the time. Because then I think we could make a more informed decision.
Our neighbors to the north and the south both have them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could pull some of theirs because they've had and see if they're willing to share some of their information and show the history, because North Salt Lake has had theirs for at least 5 years. It was right after you started working, they got them, because I remember I was like,
And they had
damn.
some prior to that, but they didn't collect data. They were just radar signs that fed back speed.
Because now they have them at every school crossing, which I think is brilliant. And they also have them in other areas throughout, but mainly theirs are at school crossings.
Let us do a web search and just see if there's been some studies by
Okay.
different researchers that kind of determine how these things work, and let's see if there's something out there.
I mean, those are just my thoughts, right? It's really easy for me to say that, just like it's easy for a resident to stand out there without a speed gun and say, I've got people coming by my house at 50 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And as I quote Hamilton, you don't have a vote. You don't have a vote.
Well, it's like Eric said earlier, you start to get used to things like banners and things that they just kind of blend in. It doesn't mean that they're not there, but we're focusing on different things. And so if something grabs our attention, we focus on it, but then the more common it becomes, the more we get used to it. And that could result in increased speed. Could also result in people, speeding less because they get used to that. I have a section of road that I go down every day that 2 or 3 times a year, that city's officers are out there with the radar guns and pulling people over. And I can tell you what, every
Slowed them
day
down
I
for a
look at
while.
that. Oh, no, I'm in the habit now that every day I'm watching that because it's downhill, and I'm just keeping an eye on that speedometer that I don't let it go over that 40 miles an hour. So there are different tools. So
How many more patrols do you think you've done down on 1100 West since we've been talking about this, Chief?
I don't know if I can give you an exact number, but they've been down there all the free time.
Okay.
So,
Quite a bit more presence down there.
yeah.
Okay.
Do those speed limit signs that you're quoted include the smiley face or?
I can create this.
Angry mom. You know the like
And the
angry
front
mama
face.
microwave thing that steams?
Oh, there
If
you
the steam comes out of her ears, maybe they could have that.
Usually
That's really your
if they
mom.
do the frowny face, they do the smiley face too.
That's
So
great.
it's-
That's okay. I'm all for like gold star stickers.
That's right.
Yeah.
And if there's any research about thumbs up or thumbs down too,
Yeah.
the thumbs down might be just
Apparently,
shaming.
thumbs down is
Not
You
a
know,
good thing right
it's
now.
got some real traction right now.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
right.
So we got to stick with this angry mama
All
or
right.
the
Supposed to
happy
be more effective
approving.
than giving the finger.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, supposedly.
Protect
That's
the
what I
thumbs
heard
down,
too.
apparently. Yeah.
Okay. Either one. Maybe I'll start picking it up.
Avoid that.
Learn something new every day.
I know. Well, you've been doing a lot of thumbs down. You got it.
It would be cool though to look at the same data, a month from now and
Yeah.
look at it over the same period of time,
Yeah, that would
the
be
same number of days, maybe the same
Same
Yeah,
days
let's-
of the week.
days of the week.
Yeah, I can
Um,
get the 85th percentile speed after we get a month's worth of data. It just takes some time to gather that.
Takes a month.
I noticed that the
enough.
southbound people are traveling a lot faster than the northbound people. So
They're going.
what are they so excited about?
I can
They're more excited to come
Yeah,
into Woods
they are.
Cross than to leave Woods Cross.
They're going into, yeah, they're coming home versus going to work.
Just a little bit.
Be interesting to see what time that happens at.
I can have that for you
Sweet.
once we have a month.
Curious, are people rushing to work or are they rushing home?
Or are they doing both?
Okay.
Thank you for
Hey,
the,
thanks.
Thank you.
Okay,
keep up,
ash
chief.
tree removal on 1500 South recommendation. Tara is here and it's got your name and Bryce's name on it.
Did you bring the models? Oh, you have them.
They're
Okay.
down here.
This is interesting. You're going to want to stick around for this, Dennis.
these? Everybody's.
Yeah, we,
I think the
Yeah, I've
council's
seen
all
them.
seen them.
Yeah.
So these are a couple of examples. We did have a large limb come off a tree out there, not from a big windstorm or anything, but a limb. And we'd had the trees looked at and evaluated for, as we're looking at redoing the park and city hall and trying to figure out what trees we can save. So Bryce, take it away.
pass those around.
Well, I'm going to credit Tara for doing all the hard work because she has scheduled the tree trimming crews to come out, evaluate things.
she's also put together this very comprehensive report. And I also credit Tara for having a great love for trees. And I can tell how much this hurts her to realize where things are at. And I also hurt. I mean, these are beautiful trees. So to realize how sick they are when they look good. But the other thing that I realized is I walked out onto 1500 South while we were out there one day, and I looked down the north side of those trees.
They're
There's
gone.
not a lot of tree on that side.
They're pretty
The
flat.
Rocky Mountain Power has trimmed them quite a bit. And so again, we were all planning to save these trees and keep the building back and everything. But after looking at it and Tara's report, she's recommending that this would be a time to remove these trees and to start a new type of tree life there on the north side of the city hall. That would allow us to move the building a little bit closer and to have trees that are modeled and scaled at a size that don't cause a problem with the power lines. And so,
Are we also doing a variety of trees
yes,
so that when one gets sick, they don't all get
we'll
sick?
do a monoculture. So
Okay.
do you want to ask any questions of Tara? I've done the preliminary work that as far as I can do, but we have the
So we're-
professional here.
Take it away, Tara.
Yeah, what tree numbers? I have that.
Sam, can you pull up the? So if we start with the one that's on the corner by the flagpole, that one's number 1. And then moving down to the one that is at the cabin, that one would be number 8, is what we're looking at there. And so they're all infected with the ash borer.
Oh, they are?
They all are.
All of them?
Yeah, and so if you get a chance, go out and look at them. What you want to look for is, so you can see on the bowls that Mike turned, those spots where they're all full of holes, that's where the borers are, right? And the tree will get what looks like a band, it just thickens. And so if you go out there and you look at those branches, you'll see a band and then a band and then a band again. And so not so much in the trunk.
It's on the limbs.
Yeah, it's on the limbs because that's the boars can get in and get access to the food that they want in there easily on the limbs. So what I'm recommending based on all the information that I've gathered is that if we think that keeping tree 1 and 2 would help with the public reception of removing so many of them, we're going to want to treat them for the ash borer, and then they're going to need extensive pruning. And so industry standard though is that you don't prune off more than 25 to 30% in one growing season, and it's going to take way more than that. So it's the trees being able to recover. Older trees recover slower. So imagine if you cut off my finger, I've only got this small section that needs to close over and cover. But if you cut off my arm or my leg, there's this huge wound and that's got to recover. And so the trees are older and the wounds are going to be big. So we can try to preserve these for a little while to keep the aesthetic of that, but we have to assume some risk if we keep those. The others I don't recommend keeping at all based on their health.
So one idea that that I proposed, I'll own it, is can we use the wood, repurpose the wood and use it inside City Hall?
Yes. So what my suggestion around that would be, so find the buffalo on the map. Trees 5 and 6. I'm part of an organization called the Utah Community Forest Council, and that's just a group of arborists, licensed arborists who come together and we plan different events. Like last week I went and ran a booth at Red Butte Gardens helping to educate people about tree healthcare, right? So we go out and do outreach, and they also provide all of the classes that help the arborists get their CEUs. And so every October we host a class where arborists come in with their chainsaws, and we have an inside class portion where you learn how to take your chainsaw apart, put it back together and oil it and grease it and do that. And then we go out and prune some trees or practice. Last year I hosted this at Clearfield. And so this is something I've got experience with. So we want to have the class here, and that proposal has been accepted by the community council. And we want to come in and have them take down trees 5 and 6. Not with the intention of saving the wood, but kind of like a reconnaissance mission, and go in and take down the tree kind of in sections. The guys and gals will learn how to use their chainsaws on trees this big. And so the trees will come down for free for us. And then we'll be able to see how bad the damage is in the trunk. Are we even going to be able to use the wood? Will it be structurally sound? So having trees 5 and 6 taken down in October will give us a starting point. So we'll already have conversations in the works with companies that mill wood. So if we find out from this reconnaissance tree takedown, we'll know if there's a likelihood of being able to use that wood, what the lengths are we need them to be taken down in. Because I can almost guarantee if there's any wood that's going to be usable, it will be the trunk wood.
Yeah.
Right. If you go down from where the branches start, it'll be from there down. That's my guess. So we'll know more in October, and then my recommendation would be to move quickly after that, to get the trees down, to have this done in a really like respectful, clean way so that there's never like janky, half ripped up trees out in the park. So that's my recommendation.
And off season, obviously, too, would be better, right? Since
Fall season.
Be careful of the buffalo.
the winter.
Well, the buffalo,
The favorite, you know.
I have been carefully instructed about the importance of the buffalo.
You know, we should name him.
So
Should. When the buffalo disappears, I get more comments about
Yeah.
the buffalo being gone than I get about anything else in the city.
Yeah. Right now, the plan for, I don't know, Barry the buffalo is that we'll put him over in that, there's kind of an empty mulch bed over by PD. So we'll put him over there in the empty mulch bed for the class in October. And then we'll put him back. And then when it's time to take the others out, then we'll probably bring him up to Public Works and put him somewhere in a very prominent position where anyone who wants to visit can do so.
Can come and see.
We should have a contest to name our
him.
bison.
We should. That's right. It's a bison. It's
Oh,
not a
Very
buffalo.
bison. Yeah.
Okay.
Are we going to open up to the public and then have it be
Yes, we should open it to the elementary schools.
exposed,
Yeah.
face type
Can
situation?
adults not help? I think that's-
No,
Kids.
just kids.
Adults.
Kids of all ages.
Eric, you should have thought of this before and proposed a name.
When I was a kid,
No, not before we threw it out that now it's elementary school.
I've got a
Sure.
question.
Yes.
On trees 1 and 2, you mentioned that they need extensive pruning. What will they look like when they're done, when that pruning has taken place?
So if I'm being perfectly honest, they are
Please be
not going to
honest.
look great. They're very tall. They're very large. And like we were talking about before, how the north side where Rocky Mountain Power has pruned, what they've done is sucker out, right? And so if you go out there and look at the different branch pattern on the south, you've got these long, gorgeous branches. That's how ash trees grow. Like they're growing within their growth pattern on the south side. That's what they do. And so on the north side, it's just like they chopped branches off and then the suckers come out of the end with this really bad branch pattern and just shoot straight up. The tree is basically trying to make more leaves as quickly as possible so that it can photosynthesize and have the nutrients that it needs to produce, right? So we need to take off these big heavy limbs off of 1 and 2, and then they'll probably sucker as well. So like they're still beautiful trees. It's not like it'll be terrible, but
They would never be
What they are.
what they
yeah,
have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're past that point. So
If we pull them out, then, and we could get new trees pretty quickly, right? Like maybe next spring in that area.
yeah, depending on how everything goes, because you've got to think about their root systems. The roots from all of these trees are probably halfway under the road. So we've got to take the tree down and then grind the stump down to the ground. And an arborist will usually come in, take the tree down to maybe about here, and then get a stump grinder. And that just makes a big pile of chips, right? Sawdust. And then they'll go along and follow the roots that they can see with that stump grinder and grind that down as well, probably about 8 inches down. So it'll be messy, and then it might be hard to dig sufficient holes there to put new trees in.
Okay.
We might need some time for those roots to decompose.
How long does it typically take?
I couldn't give you an
Can we
exact.
have our friends at Hogan, when they're excavating the building, accidentally excavate those roots that will be abandoned by trees?
Yeah, and keep in mind too that there's a lot of
Yeah,
concrete
yeah,
out
I
there right
think-
now. So depending on what exactly is going to be where, that's when I can see a definite plan for where there will be concrete and where there won't be, then that's when I'll come in and say, here's a tree that will fit this size for the height and for the space that the roots need to grow. And so that's what I would.
So it'd be better to.
Yeah.
Especially with all the equipment that'll be traveling around in that area. If
Transporting
we can
trees.
get them removed, get the wood, find out what the quality of the wood is from the first two trees, determine how much we can preserve of the others. Then leave things vacant while the equipment's moving around, because we don't want to plant brand new trees and then have the ground
That's true.
impacted by equipment.
Well,
stuff.
and our whole water system is going to be disrupted during construction of the building.
Yeah.
I mean, if not, you have to finagle it all around it to keep this line of sprinklers going, right? It's just going to be
Yeah.
so.
And then we're waiting for the landscape architect who's doing the design of our park areas to put that plan together. It'll be reviewed by Tara, Sam, and we'll have input, because guess who's going to maintain it? So we'll have that input on it, and we'll just keep you apprised as that develops.
I do have a recommendation for Lacey though. Once these trees start disappearing, it's going to be perceived by some that they're being sacrificed for City Hall. And that's not the reason. So I think it's important that we let the public know in advance the reason. Have these here in City Hall, maybe send pictures out.
Well, we talked about doing a farewell to our park trees
Yeah.
and having a community event.
Yeah.
So
That's
whether
important.
there's a lot of different ideas that Winston, my personal assistant, AKA ChatGPT, came up with, but just some fun ideas of that we could do to pull the community in.
Can I offer some suggestions?
Yes.
So I think that the most important thing right now is to educate the community on why the trees need to go down.
Yeah.
Because whether there was City Hall reconstruction, rebuilding happening, I would be standing right here saying, you guys, we got to take these trees down. They're not safe.
They're not safe.
So we need to educate the public. So some ideas that I have around that, I think that I would love to have a dedicated parks social media page where we can put things on that are just parks related. And I would love to do, especially like, for example, when we have we'll probably have 20 arborists in the park in October, and we'll be taking these trees down, and we can interview them and we can ask them what they think about the trees and concerns that they have and why they think that taking them down was good. Like, get other input in so that it's not just the city saying, oh, well, we got to, we need to expand this out to other experts that are confirming with what we are saying as well. I would really love to go to the DI and find an old curio cabinet and put it out front here and bring the pieces that I have saved from the limb that came down. I would like to display that with a little sign that educates people. So if anyone calls and is like, what the heck is happening with the trees? Hey, come in and look. We've got this thing.
You could put those
in.
Yeah,
that would be great.
Because I think that really shows the extent of the damage.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's, I was going to say something along those same lines. And I mean, it'd be great to have a parks page, link that, Lacey can get it and link all of those posts. But to have the experts be the ones that say, here we have our parks manager that is an arborist, and put Tara Kinzer, parks supervisor or whatever our title is. I don't remember, sorry. And put certified arborist or whatever your certification is. And I love your idea of having some of these others that are coming in for the same event to do the same thing, because we want people to know that we would love to save the trees, but this is the professional's opinion because we had this branch come down and here's why. And we could save them and design around them and lose all of them or chunks of them over the next couple of years. And so I love getting ahead of it with some education and putting it out there so that people can be aware of why we're doing it. We're not just a bunch of tree killers.
So Tara, can the public come and watch your event in October?
They could. We'll have a zone. We'll probably, if people are going to do that, we would.
Because I think that would be really fun for kids, and we can reach out to the elementary schools and I mean, I'm assuming it's during the day,
Yeah.
but maybe
I
offer.
have to check with the people teaching the class, like they're really careful about liability, so.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I know we're not gonna be like in there
Yeah.
working with you,
Yeah.
but if we could have an area where they can observe maybe
Yeah.
some sort of piece or
under
chainsaw
the pavilion.
curving or whatever,
Mhm.
yeah. We're back enough where they're far away, maybe they're on the pickleball court,
Yeah.
you know, looking through the fence or whatever.
Yeah.
Another idea I really liked was a memory photo booth where families can come and take pictures in
Mhm.
front of the trees. And maybe that's something we could also, you know, advertise or set up.
Project to use this wood, and so we're hoping to have this all funded through a grant to have some of these things happen.
That'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can get, and even if the wood, you know, if we can't use it for big things, you know, in the new city hall,
Mhm.
even if we did a tree in the entryway of the wood, you know, from the wood, not a big, huge thing, maybe the size of one of these sound things,
Mhm.
you know, that shows Woods
Yeah.
Cross City, and then having something that just says, you know,
Yeah.
dedicated, and, you know, trees that have shaded for generations or whatever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just something,
Yeah. There's
just
a lot
to
of
honor
fun
them.
ideas.
Yeah.
And just for our public that are here, so as that branch came down, then Tara had a company come in and take sample branches off of the surrounding trees just to see. And I think I can't say for sure, but Tara could tell us, was that every single branch that came down had some kind of borer activity within the branch. One branch that came down, that it looked healthy on the outside, and they cut into it, and the whole inside of it is rotten.
Is that
So it's just another
the one you just
branch
showed?
waiting to come off the tree.
That's where it broke.
The branch that you are pointing to right now, that is actually where the limb that fell, like the very first thing that clued us into the severity of the situation. I left the stub up there and had the arborist company come, and Acer Trees, they took it off of the tree. So I wanted everyone to be able to see that's the spot, and you can look how it's
Yeah, I mean, it's
decayed
just-
all the way down into the bottom of that branch. So that's where the actual, that
Yeah.
first limb that clued me into this, that's where it broke. And
Yep.
there was no wind, there was no rain, it wasn't a storm.
It just
And
fell.
it was
Yeah.
a substantial branch that came off.
Yeah.
So
We're lucky no children were under
Yeah.
that branch.
Yeah.
Will Rocky Mountain Power run the power lines underground in the future?
For $1
they
million
would
dollars.
if we would pay $1 million.
And so
We checked
know.
into it as we're looking at the project. Yeah.
Yep, so the
They would
answer
give
is-
us a discount if we needed them moved in order to accommodate on-street parking. But the discount was like $100,000 or something. It still was going to be like $900,000 to bury the line in front of there.
Just that
So-
one section, like, yeah.
So I have a series of questions in the memo at the beginning of just wanted to just verify some things. Do you support the recommendation to remove trees 3 through 8? And I would say even possibly 1 and 2 if we get going on these others and we find out more information. But for right now, we're just asking for your acknowledgement that the recommendation to remove those
5 and 6
by 3, well,
or all of
start
them.
off with
3
5 and
through
6, but the 3 through 8 will eventually be removed.
I told Tara that she could have her group come if they were willing to take down all of those trees.
Surprise, guys.
Apparently, they're only willing to take down 2 of them for free.
Yeah.
Question, sorry to come back to this, but on 1 and 2,
Mhm.
if we did end up pruning them and everything else, how much life do you think they have
Have
there? Like,
left.
what are we looking at?
Yeah,
Is that even
that's such a hard question to answer.
Like,
So,
try to tell the future?
Because they're
Right.
60 years old, right?
they're very old. Yeah. I
Or
would-
65.
I'm really excited to get a chunk, a cross section of the trunk to count the actual rings and see how old they are.
The ones that are still there.
We're not gonna know, right? We won't
Yeah.
know because a branch could fail at any time. It's just unknown.
I guess I'm hesitant to not take them all down.
I
I
think we,
am too.
yeah, I think
I don't think it's worth
we need to. take
pruning
them all.
and saving. Don't want to.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But
I
I'd
was
be
at
all,
least
all
gonna
in favor
say,
of
let's see
three
how
through-
the other,
three
the
through
first
eight
two
or whatever.
look, but okay, so you would not be opposed based on what we learn and discover that we may just remove them all.
No, they already are
No.
showing that they are infected.
Yeah. they
And,
are.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm not okay dumping money into something that may not work.
A lost cause.
A lost
That's good,
cause,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
In your packet, there's a small table that tells you how much it would be to
Yes.
remove a tree, to prune it, to treat it.
So, and every year, like
$3,000
$2,000
$3,000 to remove it and get the stump out, but
or an ongoing
to
cost.
prune it yearly for 1,000, to treat the borers for 200 per year, so you're 1,200 a year. So
Yeah.
and then every other year you have to do the injections and 700. It's
almost, and
It's a
with
big
inflation,
commitment.
it'll end up being,
So if we prune 60% of the trees, it's still $3,000 to remove it.
yeah, because
Yeah.
it's the stump, it's the trunk.
We will coordinate with Hogan to determine, Tara shared the importance of just not taking trackhoes in and just ripping trees out. So we'll remove the trees. We'll find out if Hogan says, look, if you leave it at this point, we can take care of the rest of it, below ground with the trackhouse. So we'll be some coordination on that. We'll also know more after trees 5 and 6 are down, what we think there is for usable wood. At that point, we can then, they're already getting prices with some mills to find out what they would do with the wood. Again, I think this could be beautiful with some of this bore holes and stuff for some different types of things. And Winston did a beautiful version of a backdrop for the dais or thing. So we'll explore
Yeah.
those things and see what we can do. And so let us just
Okay,
find out what we get with 5 and 6, and then we can plan accordingly and move from there.
It may be worth the time to reach out to Rocky Mountain Power, because they may have some funding available, because if we take them down and it keeps them from having to come and prune them each year, they may have some funding that they would kick in for removing them.
Okay.
I've heard that they've done that in the past in other
Okay.
places.
And if not that, they are willing to make donations. Maybe they would make some donations towards some smaller trees. And then we'll work with our landscape architects, again, have Tara and Sam review and make sure we've got the right type of trees in the future. Moving down, are you okay then budgetarily within the project that we take some wood if we can and preserve it and try to figure out how we can use it in the future? I would hope that you would trust Tara, because you've made some good recommendations, Julie, but she was also sharing with me today how the public perceives trees with all the work she's done with the public. She kind of understands the sentiment. And so
yeah,
she was
great.
giving me some advice that to do one thing that sounds really good to us, of, hey, let's do this big thing. It's kind of like inviting a bunch of people to a party at a funeral. And so I really trust Tara's judgment on how
I
we
mean,
go through this.
People party after, but okay.
Well, and that's the thing that I'm going to trust her to help guide us through that. And then, yeah, let's just let Tara help us move through that process.
My only concern about a parks Facebook page is we don't have a ton of action on our city page. So I'm wondering if you can work with Lacey
Oh, yeah,
on
for sure.
a portion of, like, maybe there's a parks. I think you two can combine and
Yeah.
do something where
for sure.
you're the face of the parks.
Yeah.
All of your posts, or put some educational videos or whatever.
Mhm.
I think you're going to be better at getting more eyes on it than trying to start a new
Yeah.
page and get people to join.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
just,
Lacey and I will hammer that one out.
yeah, just
Thank you,
my
Tara.
2 cents on
Yeah.
that.
Any other
Maybe-
questions?
Maybe before we break, an important constituent of mine sent me with one thing tonight as we were talking about trees. She said, if you can somehow save 1 or 2 trees, and so I appreciate our approach of let's see what these others look
Yeah.
like.
Mhm.
Let's see what potentially like 1 and 2 would look like when we trim them. That's just my last 2 cents for the important
I would
constituent that
recommend-
I have at home.
Anyone that has any concern around it, go out in the middle of the day when it's nice and sunny and look for the bands where the tree is.
It gets like a
it's-
big knob.
It bulges,
Yeah.
it's trying to compensate for the destruction that's on the inside. So go and look at those. And when you when you look, not tree number 3 is a really good one to go look at to get a good idea of how bad it is and kind of get your eyes used to what the borer damage looks like. And then go look at 1 and 2 and stand under them, lay on the grass under and just look at those trees and decide how comfortable you are leaving those big branches up there. So
Okay.
that's my
Well,
suggestion.
and that's something you could film, and put on
Yeah.
social media is you educating what to look for.
I love
And
that.
yeah.
I'll look
Okay.
I'll look at my trees at my house too.
Report back to your really important.
I've already had limbs fall and figure out.
So there were certain neighborhoods, certain streets in
Cloverdale?
in Cloverdale and in over further where Jim
Yeah.
is, that like my street has honey locust, but the street to the east of us, 1425, is all ash trees.
Yep.
All
And-
of them?
all of them.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
there was a time we'd been there maybe 5 or so years, and they all of a sudden started getting all these big knots on them. And a windstorm came through,
And they
and whole bunches of them. I mean, some trees, the whole tree, the stump came up, the trunk did, and then the whole tree on top of it, because that's where the borers were. But we had whole pieces of them that came down all at once. But again, it's planting all of the same trees repetitively.
Yep.
Then they just move from one tree to the next tree to the next tree.
It's a
It makes the street look really cool until it doesn't.
So Sam, those trees that we lost in the windstorm several years ago, were those
2020.
ash trees? Do you
The
remember?
one by
They
the
were pine trees. They were
Yeah, we lost the pines on the north side of the pickleball court. We lost a sycamore over by the playgrounds.
Mhm.
Okay,
Um,
but not ash. They weren't ash trees.
may have lost an ash tree. I can't remember. It
Okay.
might
was
have been more
variety.
towards the
That,
diamond.
that storm was
Wicked.
It was not
not
selective.
selective on what it took down.
Yeah.
By the way, just while we're talking about wind, Woods Cross was yet again mentioned as one of 3 tornadoes that have touched down in Utah. So on the news,
making the news.
making the news.
When did we have a tornado?
We had a tornado
A couple of years
a
ago.
couple years ago.
Yeah, we had an EF0
Yeah.
touchdown and do some damage to the Public
Public
Works
Works.
building.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We've had a tornado here.
It's a small little,
Oh.
some shingles, the baby,
Bang.
baby tornado.
It was a baby, but still, it was a
Yeah.
tornado.
Still
So
counts.
Claim to fame.
there you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks,
you.
Tara.
Thanks.
Thank you, Tara.
Reach out anytime if you have questions or if you want a tour over those trees.
We're very lucky to have you. Thank you.
We are. Okay, Bryce, you're up next. City Hall, Hogan Park.
Thank you for all the work that we did together on the 6th of
The 6th.
October. That was very helpful. But in that meeting, we also talked about needing to have the architects do some more exploration and give us information on the community room, the potential enclosed patio. And so with that, I'm trying to scroll down to that section. Let me pull it up here just so that I can move around the cursor where I need to. We got information at our meeting last Thursday, and Eric and Wally will be able to weigh in on this. So we just want to finish that conversation primarily around, is that my scope? That area. Please understand that, and I know that it was mentioned earlier during the public comment period by Dennis that we've kept using this $13 million. It's $13,440,000. Oh, thank you. And that's not been in an effort to be deceptive. We were trying to help use a comparison from the current square footage of the building and the cost to restore this building with fire sprinklers, seismic upgrades and things of that nature to a building of the same square footage. I apologize that we didn't say, oh, by the way, there are other extenuating costs that go with that, but we were trying to keep apples to apples as much as possible. Lacey and I have been talking today about how we're going to start working on some social media information. We're going to keep it on our website, not go out and populate social media, but here's the path that we've been on and where we've gotten to. With that being said, In the beginning, when this first started, and the Hogan expense sheet that we have that's toward the end of this packet item identified $13,440,000, which at the time that they were putting estimates together, they were saying $500 a square foot gave us about a 26,880 square foot building. Since then, we've done things with the building where we've made the community room bigger, made the hallway bigger. So there's things that have been
But you
growing.
also shrunk this footprint of the building
Yeah.
because it was much larger.
Well, and that's just it. The 26,000 was based on adding up all of the square footage of the rooms that were done from the needs assessment. Then they started putting them into, you start putting the pieces of the puzzle together and things grow here and a little bit there and things. So I don't think it's been a deliberate attempt to say, oh, we thought we could get by with a 26,000 square foot. Now we're up to 30,000, but it has grown and shrunk as we have been tackling different aspects of it. I couldn't find the exact square footage right before we did the last things that you asked us to do. Those included adding some area in the basement that squared it up with the east wall of the police department. So they gave us that, and that's right here on this drawing. I'm going to scroll down, and we also were given instructions to add on to the east end of the second floor, because the question is would we need more offices in the future? And while I would maintain we don't need to build the offices, having the footprint in the area, and I've mentioned St. George City, they have a whole part of one floor that's just carpeted, ceiling, and open. And in the future, they will finish it. Eric knows the term tenant finish. You go in and you do tenant finishes, you know what you need. So we've talked about how that could be done.
And Bryce, just to mention for public who are online, the reason we're looking at doing this is because building codes change over time. And the idea was, well, if we add on or do this enclosure later, the building codes could be different.
We might not even be able to do
We may
the
not
addition,
even be able to do it.
but if we
So-
do it now, we can
and then
do the
leave it
tenant
at
finish.
not fully finished.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. And so you will notice that the architect expanded the second floor by 14 feet, which is the other office spaces in this second floor. They could go all the way to the east wall, but then you've got an extra like 5 feet that they were like, well, that could be awkward. They can do that, but it's more square footage and more cost. So they went to this line and just said, find out if the council's comfortable with ending at this point, or if we want to go out further. So just understand they've added.
The orange color is
Yep.
space that's down below that would not be, the
Correct.
walls wouldn't line right up.
Yep.
And
And
what's the reasoning for not bringing it all the way?
They just said, we just took it out to 14 feet because that's what your other offices are. And we thought
was-
that,
17, but yeah.
oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. 17
You looked
feet.
at it
I'm reading the
this way,
14 the
yes.
other direction. So 17 feet. And if they went out another 4 to 5 feet, it would bring it flush. They can certainly do that. They just thought, well, it's extra square footage that we don't know how you'd use it. You could make larger offices. So they will make it larger if you say, take it all the way to the east wall. Right now, it's increasing that square footage by 960 square feet.
But what does that do for the look of the exterior? Do we?
Well, I don't
So
have
the-
those.
Foundational support.
So
Yeah.
this will match what they showed us after they expanded it. This is pretty much what that will look like.
Okay,
So on that massing model.
Remember how they expanded it?
yeah,
And they had it, and you were like, "Oh, that makes more sense."
Makes more
That's
sense.
what this will look like when they put
Okay.
it in.
Yeah. And then there was the enclosing the, well, I want to be careful how I say it. The patio having some options of creating some doors or something that could create some enclosure to it. Now, I've put in the memo that there are canvas enclosure type things that are seasonal. Then there are these other types of things. Again, this is still very preliminary because as we were talking in the meeting, right now the patio has steel columns anticipated. So if you're going to put doors and things on them, you have to go to some extra work to create columns that they would attach to. And so we don't have exact prices, but we're doing the best we can to estimate. The other request is that if this were to be enclosed, that it have a heating and cooling system that once the doors are closed, it could bring up to temperature so that if you open the doors between the community room and this enclosed patio, it's consistent temperature throughout and you're not freezing under the patio area. So those are some things that they are saying. They're now saying if we do that, let's just count it as finished space. So it's kind of jostled the numbers around from that 26,000. I'm rounding here, so forgive me. That 26,000 at the very beginning, we've gone as high as 36,000. Then we've gone down to right around 30. Now they're saying around 32,768 because we've added about 1,000 square foot on the second floor. The basement, can't remember what we had on an estimate. They didn't have exact dimensions, but somewhere around 770 square foot for that expansion area they just brought down. And then if the patio area was approximately, what did I say in my memo, 2,250 square feet or something, that got added onto it. So now that brings that square footage up to 32,786, as you can see right here. Unfinished, 1,546 square feet, the basement 4,923. Realizes as we add all this on, that continues to add to cost, and we would now be well into the contingency money. And in my memo, I identified what that is. And I just want to say this for your benefit and for the public's benefit. That contingency money has never been anything that we as staff feel that we can go into. That's your call of we either use it or we don't use it. But in this memo right here, I pointed out that that increase in square footage would put us using somewhere around $2,953,000. That's assuming the community room stays I think they moved it down to 3,000 square foot based on the last conversation we had. And then the 2,250 on the enclosed patio. Our recommendation to staff is I don't think we need the square footage in the basement. I would say let's not add that. I think the square footage on the second floor at some point in time would be used
What?
for 50 years.
Basement, what does that do though for like foundation and stuff?
We were already planning on having a change from a basement to a slab on grade. And I don't think that's a problem. I think that was going to be somewhere on one side or the other of the hallway for the police department. Let me get to that. So I think that was, I can't remember if it was on this wall line right here or this wall line right here, I believe. So
I can't see your.
Yeah, we can't, there it is.
oh, lined up with the stairs, as Curtis is saying. So there's my cursor kind of moving up and down. So I don't think, Eric, you'd have to be the professional opinion, having a basement to a slab on grade. Do you see a problem with that?
No, especially with this building type. I mean, that'd be fine from a construction standpoint. I think Hogan's comment was simple as saying when you add basement, you are adding square footage and you are adding cost. It's not as much. They estimated that at maybe $300 a square foot versus the $5. But it is additional cost. Even though there is foundation already there, that was their analysis of it.
And I think the second floor makes more sense. If we need to cut something, it makes more sense to use the second floor because that's where all of the people.
And cut the basement, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So here's some possible trade-offs. And again, this is a value judgment. And so as I share this, I hope that I'm not recommending going one way or the other. Originally, there was 3,500 square foot of community room. We can add that back in if you want. I had shared this idea of creating these doors or things that could provide a way to make that enclosed and heated or conditioned space. If we don't remove some community room, though, you just continue to increase the cost. If you trade off with, okay, if we reduce the community room, then we can cover these costs. Approximately 500 square foot less of community room can bring you, we think, the amount of money to pay for these doors and things, depending on how nice you want to go. It's like we've talked about. There are different costs of doors.
You can spend a reasonable amount of money, or you can spend more money depending on how nice you want to go. If you were willing to go down to 2,500 square foot, you would take care of the community room and half of the cost of the upstairs, approximately. So there's trade-offs.
The community room.
So the enclosed community room.
Okay, the enclosed portion.
The enclosed portion of the community room.
Okay.
So right now, your Public Works community room is not 3,000 square foot exactly of usable space. It's more like 2,800, just under 2,900. So it's a value judgment. I'm just going to throw some numbers out there. If you were to make your community room on the city hall, say 2,500 square foot, and you had 2,250, you're just under 5,000 square foot of usable space if you decide to have the doors. Again, that would allow you to pay for half of the upstairs and cover the enclosing the covered patio. Now, this is estimates again. These are not exact dollars, but if you keep your community room 3,000 square feet, you've barely covered closing the doors or the doors on the patio and stuff. So I just have to remind you, and we've talked about menus and how far down the menu you can go based on the best information we have right now. And we're just using dollars per square foot. There's trade-offs. So I just need you to decide how far do you want to go, because in order to start designing, they really need to know how big you want the community room. And if you want to go forward with this covered patio, and if you want the basement, and if you want the second floor, I need those decisions tonight. And that can include moving the second floor out to the exterior wall of the police if you want to, or keeping it where it's at 17 feet. So
with keeping it where it's at 17 feet, thinking of what has to be underneath that to support the load on top of it, is it more cost effective to take it out to the wall that would?
No.
Or like how does that all work?
I mean, structure will support what we design here. If we expand that out, because we've asked this question, and it doesn't, it doesn't have that impact, because it's going to be supported via columns, and it's a steel structure. It's not the walls aren't bearing.
So they're going to be weird columns in weird places.
We're not going to let them do that. No.
they would put the columns in the walls. You wouldn't like have a column in the
they'll
wall.
hide the structure. I mean,
So will it affect what's down underneath and make it so that space isn't like what the space that the police department is using? It's not gonna
impact that.
And it's not gonna impact this.
No, we'll make sure the columns are in place that aren't impact that. They'll need to design some sort of a lateral bracing, whether it be moment frame or probably some sort of a brace frame, which those diagonal cables you see in some buildings.
Mm-hmm.
They'll probably have some of that just because it's less expensive. And I think for us, that's probably what we're looking for. So, but even that will be strategically placed so that it makes sense. But because it's a steel building, there's a lot of flexibility, and not stacking the walls isn't really going to impact the cost of the building or structure.
Is it gonna look funny?
It's going to look better.
I think so too.
Than having a solid wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
It will. Personally, I think it's going to look better.
And why do you think it will look better?
I mean, just with the way they designed it, they have kind of that base piece and then they have the other piece above it. And allowing that offset allows that to really make sense.
Okay.
And then also having that variation in the exterior provides some interest. When you have a big flat wall, it's less interesting and it doesn't look as good.
I think without that variation, it would look more like a shoebox.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially.
I think, Bryce, as we climatize that patio area and make it more usable more months of the year, it just makes sense that we reduce the size of the community room, because if we're able to use it more and have all that space, why have such a big community room? We've heard that from.
Yeah, I would be okay. I know this is going to shock all of you.
That's good.
I would be okay. I would be okay with doing a 2,500 square foot if we can have this this covered area that we can then also heat and cool, which will save money because we're not heating and cooling a giant area 365
Right.
days a year.
Oh, for sure.
It would just be whenever it's enclosed or we're using it. But I'm good with that. I'm not okay with these canvas, like, this looks like we went camping. So
And yes,
I'm
if you
not-
want
Canvas,
to,
what's the?
Oh, the canvas doors.
oh, let me
it looks
scroll
like,
that for
yeah,
you.
Bryce can put it up for all to see, but I just
Oh,
feel
yeah,
like
yeah,
that
I
looks
hear
like you're,
It's more like a tent.
yes,
Yeah.
we're
Okay.
camping but I do
got a
like,
thought on that. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Finish your thoughts first.
I do like the one with the doors on the side.
There's these
Keep
types of
going,
doors
no, not
here.
those.
This is AI.
Yeah, I know.
So here
Keep
is a
scrolling.
real
Yeah,
building right
good
here.
with the roll-ups.
This is Method Studio. They have these doors literally on the side of their building. This building was an old diesel mechanic shop, and they purchased it and repurposed it. They put these doors in, so you can see how it works. If we choose to make the slope of our ceiling sloped like the roof line, the tracks don't have to go up and horizontal. They can follow the line.
Yeah,
So,
keep scrolling.
okay.
I'm looking at page 160.
Again, this is AI, but
Okay, keep going. Maybe my 160 is not your
that looks
160.
nice.
That one. Yeah, go back.
Okay.
This or the one right here. I like the look of this because I feel like you can still see out. Like Eric, you were concerned about maybe a blocking of the view or, having a roof. I like this idea. And then can you scroll down? I know it's
Are
set
you
up.
planning your daughter's or
Like-
son's wedding now? Because when this came up, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. But
Yeah,
again,
Bryce,
it's
you,
AI.
Elegant, but
you read the room. Yeah.
I think that this,
Does it have anything?
even using it for like the employee appreciation dinner that we do every year, enclosing it and bringing this part into the community room helps mitigate the concern of having a really big, large room that sits empty. Where this is a patio, people can still use it during the day, families can come. It's open to the public. But then we can enclose it.
Pumpkins in the park could take
Yes.
place here.
Mhm.
Santa could be like, we can have
Perfect.
as Santa pulls in on the fire truck right there. Yeah,
Memorial Day.
yeah.
in
With the
inclement
boulevard
weather.
sidewalk, that sidewalk will be designed to bear the weight of
A fire
the
truck
truck. So
with Santa not on top, but as we learned from
That's
Easter.
an ongoing debate.
Oh, okay.
What?
Yeah,
Wait, about,
about allowing Santa to be in the bucket.
well, it's too cold.
Hmm.
But the Easter Bunny, we learned.
Santa has said that
He wants to be in the bucket.
he wants to be in the bucket.
I think it's.
I have talked to Santa about it.
I'm gonna guess that the fire insurance is gonna say no, but.
Like I said, it's been an ongoing debate.
So Bryce, by cutting that room down so much, that'll help mitigate.
it would certainly, yes,
Okay.
help with these offsetting.
Okay, I have some thoughts, real quick on that.
On the enclosure part?
Yes, specifically the enclosure part. So as mentioned earlier, yes, I do have some concerns about blocking that view. You can go back up to the one above it, Bryce. I like the idea of having an open pavilion looking out to the park. I would prefer to not look through a garage into the park. And that's what this feels like to me. With all the doors and everything. It's like, okay, we're going from our community room through a mechanic shop to the park. And it just has that feel to it. It's much more kind of industrialized and kind of, I don't know. That's my impression of it. And I look at how often it's going to be open versus how often it's going to be closed and how inviting it is if it has doors. And this is partially a response to, I went camping shortly before this and they had a pavilion there that had garage doors on all sides. And it was to protect from bears. And so we opened up all the doors and you could see outside and it was nice, but it was still kind of dark. And you were still inside, if you will. You weren't in an open pavilion, you were in a room with big openings. And it's a much different feel being in a room with big openings as opposed to being in a pavilion where you are outside but covered. And so for me personally, where it's going to be open most of the year and functioning as a pavilion that's a covered area out in this park and in this transition space between the building and the park, I really prefer to not have the doors. And it's really, I mean, the doors on the sides, I would prefer no doors, but it's really the door on the end that I really don't like.
Oh, interesting.
Because that really blocks, because yeah, it's glass and you can see through it and everything else, but it really does block the experience of seeing out into that park when you're in the community space. And so especially because the doors on the sides, if we do certain things, there are ways to hide those when they're not in use. But on the end, there's no way to hide it. It's gonna be there and you're gonna see it because the roof is pitched. You can't go up above. On the sides, we can take the track up, but follow the roof line and whatever.
A door that bends like this as it opens.
Yeah, we can have a door that goes down into the ground. That's angled at the top, that comes up. So there's just no way to avoid that. And so I don't know. I mean, I guess my question is, thinking through this, how often are we going to have this closed?
At least once a month for senior lunch bunch.
I've been to senior lunch bunch when we didn't fill the community room down there.
Right, but you've come in the summer. And the summer's not as full, but
so once a month in the winter.
September through May is
more full.
Is 100 people. But when summer, June, July, and August are historically lower.
Okay.
Because people are traveling.
Okay. And this is stuff I don't know. That's why I asked.
Yeah. So September through May, we're at easily 100, sometimes up to 115. So.
And I knew Christmas was
is
one
huge.
For sure.
So
I knew that was one for sure.
Yeah. So it'll definitely be closed during that. I'm anticipating it'll be closed during summer rec because you can do all sorts of indoor classes in this area, like sewing or.
Do you think you'd close it during summer rec or when it's nice out, you'd have it open?
Like this way is super awesome because you know what we face? Papers in the wind. Like I spend more time chasing papers and craft supplies. Also, like inclement weather, we pivot to public works. It never works. Oh, shut the garage doors, open or close. I think it really just depends and makes us more flexible in a lot of ways for some of what we do.
Yeah.
And you could leave the doors between the two. Originally you wanted to have a 3,500 square foot that had a closing partition. Well, if you have this partition here in the middle, then you've got 2,500 and 2,250. So you still have that 2-room kind of thing if you choose to use it that way. So.
Well, and that's nice with summer rec because then we don't have kids in, the more nicer inside area. If they spill glue, we wipe it up. If they, glitter gets everywhere, it's not in a carpet or, I foresee this being used a lot throughout the summer, also with summer rec, at least Monday through Thursday.
Well, you bring up
an audio so we can hear. Yeah, because it gets pretty hard to hear the presenters.
Room, but this is the only place that allows the audio visual.
Well, you brought up a really good point too. Like I'm just looking at this photo, and I like the flow where if you look at the floor is cement. It's cut. It's got a sealant on it, polished, or some sort of. And I guess the question is, would it really just flow like that? And I would almost recommend it to have that. So maybe there wouldn't be a part that's carpeted or a part that's not.
Yeah.
So I don't know if
And I
people's
think
thoughts
this
on
will
that
be
as well.
easier. You can spray this out. You can, you know,
Yeah, and that was one of the
We
comments
can-
that Method had as we were talking through. There's like, well, if you have a space that really you can open up into this area and whatever, you probably want more like concrete or something that you can maintain that way. And they say every community room carpet's an issue anyway because it gets stained and
Yeah, I agree.
it's an issue.
I think that's their original concept. All of us really liked that idea of it flowing from this open area into the park. I think we're gaining so much in flexibility that personally, I'd be willing to sacrifice a little bit of that view for the incredible flexibility that this offers.
I love the idea of the flexibility. I do have some concerns with the end doors because they will be open and they will be open all night and all summer. And so, you know, they're going to be expensive to
what do you
put in.
mean?
Then the end doors at the end of the,
South facing doors.
yes.
Well, there's
So
still man doors. Is that what you're concerned about, or?
how is that going to work? Because if they're those like bifold doors that are coming, they're going to be sitting there. So like,
No, this is a garage door.
This would be some kind
Goes
of a
up.
roll-up door.
Yeah, it goes up and over.
This-
over, okay.
Yeah.
So
It's right here. You can see it's. Like
Well, there's a
all-
couple of different things because you got some bifolds in there, you got some garage doors.
It's not well split out.
well,
This
AI
is
can
really
only do
big
so
door.
much.
You're
AI did a great job.
I'm not complaining about AI, so.
talking about this bottom one. So when it is open, there's not the lines and everything. You're not
Mhm.
seeing that.
Still concerned about it.
Yeah, so what would your alternative be? What would you?
I have no idea how to fix that one. And
I'm
neither does the
saying, what
AI.
would you prefer it just be completely, it always be closed? Or
No.
would you prefer it always be open, or would you prefer it always be whatever? Or you say the door bothers you. What about?
I'm just worried about its life and its longevity and its.
Oh, these garage doors last forever.
Here would be
No, that wouldn't be an
my
issue.
speculation. Out of sight, out of mind. So if the doors roll up, you'll be able to see them and look up at them just like you'd be able to see a seating or things like that. If we can roll the tracks at some of an angle, then if balls and things get up there, for the most part, they could catch on the glass, but some may roll down. It could be a situation where kids try to play with things.
Mhm.
We may even have to put netting in there because you're going to have birds flying in and stuff. And so there's going to be some things we're going to have to plan on and figure out how that works. But, you know, Eric suggested, and I'm going to scroll to this one. Could we look at one of these types of doors that get used at airports? And I think there's some really neat ideas about that. And then I started thinking about, okay, if that's open most of the time and the weather's on it, you close that door, what's the glass going to look like?
Yeah.
And that was my big thing. Like, oh,
Yeah.
because I keep thinking about maintenance. That's my
Yeah.
brain is all about
The
maintenance.
maintenance, the look, the
So-
washing up those windows, the etching of the glass.
Yep. You can see.
Open. I mean, we could have a field trip at the shop if you want to come over to the auto shop, but once they're open, you don't see them from.
So one of
That-
the
I'm not worried about the visual. I'm
What-
very worried about the maintenance and the care and the manpower and all the, and
Well, the garage
It's
door is
messy,
a lot
but-
easier just to push the button and let them go down. So
One
Yeah.
of the issues with the garage doors, though, was this is something that they also mentioned when we were talking about it, is all the fire sprinkler lines have to be
Mhm.
run below the doors
Mhm.
when they're open. So we'll see the doors, and then we'll see fire sprinklers below the doors run. I mean,
Mhm.
it is especially that end door, because on the side doors you can take that up, you can hide it, sprinklers are below it, but it's all above the ceiling anyway. That end door, that's going to be coming straight out at you, and then it's going to have pipes going underneath it, the sprinkler heads.
Mhm.
I don't think that's going to be a very good look at the end, looking into the park.
Well, not even just a look, but like kids will come, thinking about kids are gonna come in and goof off and dink around and maybe they'll get the grand idea that to do a pull up on the
Sprinkler light.
on the sprinkler lines, like,
Yeah.
like,
well, I will say this. Yes, there are all these contingencies we have to plan for.
we have already been told that whether we put the closed doors on there or not, because of the size of space, the assumption is there would need to be fire sprinklers anyway. So,
Will the
yes.
lines be live year round or how will?
They
It'll be a
fill them
dry
with air. Yeah, they fill them with air. And then if the sprinkler head pops open, then water goes into it.
Okay.
Again, those are all things that have to be accounted for. But we also have to realize that those things are around us all the time. If you go into other buildings and things
Yeah.
or outdoor spaces, you see those things. So it's not like,
A novelty, like
well,
this is,
things can happen. I don't want
Yes.
to say that they can't, but it's also things that are around us all the time that we just don't really
no,
pay attention to because they're just there.
But when you go to a park in the pavilion, there isn't a sprinkler system usually in the pavilion.
It's true, but there's
And-
conduit, there's
and there's-
lights,
Well,
things of that.
and there also isn't a sprinkler system lowered down beneath this door.
Store.
I mean, that's where I'm concerned. Like,
Yeah.
if it's up at the ceiling, you're
Well,
right.
how
It's going to
tall's
go
the
away.
roof?
No one's going to see it. But if it's down low, like,
You'll
and,
always see it.
and you close the door and then you have this pipe running across, you're going to see it.
And
but
again,
how tall is the roof? I mean, like we have 14-foot doors at the shop.
I
and
don't know
So I
right
don't
now
think that would be,
what the wall height is. I also don't know, based on when the doors are closed or open, what kind of sprinkler heads can be done and if they can be close to the walls and spray out. Again, these are design things that would have to be accounted for. And I think, what we would need to do is say, hey, look, before we go too far down this, let's get some of these professionals to let us know what we would need to plan for so that we have some contingencies and we're not going into this blind. Because the worst thing would be that we put this together, kids learn, oh, all I have to do is do this, this, and this, and suddenly I've created all this damage.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's things to think about. We also have camera systems and things of that nature. And again, this is a balance. So
Yeah, I guess for me, my preference would be that we leave it as a pavilion and use the canvas when we have to, but people don't agree with me, that's fine.
so would you then keep the community room at 3,500 square feet?
No, I put the community room at 2,500 and allow this to be enclosed when needed, with the canvas to be heated and used. It's evident that, I don't know,
Keep it simple
that.
then.
yeah, keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
It's the most cost effective. It allows for flexibility.
It doesn't allow as much flexibility.
It does
as-
not. And I understand the concerns, right?
Yeah.
But that's my number one preference because I like the aesthetic. I like the openness of keeping that more as a pavilion versus a room. Because as soon as you put the doors in, it becomes a room.
Well, we're
and not a
going to have another pavilion though. That's the thing. This isn't the only pavilion in the park.
No, I understand that.
So-
I'm just saying my preference.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Okay.
And so that's my preference. But my secondary preference would be if we have the garage doors on the sides, that at the end, maybe we do look at a hangar door or something that allows that to really be more open. It does provide additional canopy shade over it when it's open, which is kind of additional bonus, but it also allows for the interior to be a little bit more clean and more flexibility in the design on the interior. That's probably my secondary best option.
I would go with that one.
But
Yeah.
Hanger door.
what does that cost?
There is
The
additional
bi-
cost for hangar doors for sure.
The bifold, like overhead.
The
Is that
bifold
one?
overhead
Yeah.
hanger.
So we
Yeah.
can see.
so this would,
Yeah.
it would look
That's
like,
But you were saying there was a
No.
problem with having a hangar door and whether,
If you're leaving it open. all
Well,
the time.
it
yeah,
can
if
get
you leave
dirty.
it open all
so
the time.
here's these right
You
here.
need to clean it. Yeah.
And again, we would just need to do some homework. I agree with Eric. It does have a cleaner look. No question about it. It doesn't impose on the interior space, but you can see here that there is some bulk and things to it. So again,
And does
I
it
don't
cost
know
more?
enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
They cost more. We just have to get costs.
But I think it's worth the cost personally. Because this is like the focal point of the whole
Agreed.
area.
Yeah, but I don't know that a hangar door is.
Well, you can see that it's not just being used on hangars. I mean, here's an old Navy.
No, but those are
store
ugly.
here.
Those look like industrial buildings, not a nice
Here's-
city hall.
It's a value judgment.
I think it looks way better than tracks and a garage door as you're looking out of that park. For sure.
I think with how tall it's going to be, I don't think anyone's gonna notice the door when it's open.
I know I will.
I
But
think
how-
teenagers will.
How many feet? That's why I want to know the height of it, because if it's 14 feet, it's not a
They will
concern because they're
find
not
a way.
going to, they're not going to get up there.
Have you seen where taggers get?
Okay, then maybe we just keep a 3,500 square foot community room and leave it open. I mean, I like the flexibility that this offers. It gives us way more usage. I mean, it'll be used a lot more than an empty pavilion would be, in my opinion, but
Oh, we have to decide tonight. This is drop dead time.
So we talked a little bit about the flexibility in the summer. We think in the winter, I think of like October, March, April. Is it just all going to be closed?
Depends on how you want to use it.
Good question.
I mean,
I think in the winter it's going to be closed because,
it'll be protected area.
yeah,
I
and it's less
Snow
maintenance.
drifts. I don't know,
Right.
I'm just thinking about.
would you think functionally you'd keep it closed all winter and not allow I would think it'd be open unless there's an event.
That's yeah. I mean, I was trying to think.
That's what I would think. Because
And
we
then
want the
if
public to
you-
be able to utilize it. I mean, even the
But if
winter
you
people
close
go get
it,
undercover.
If you decide to close it for an event in the winter, you're talking about snow removal and other kinds of activities you'd have to do to get it prepared.
Yeah.
To
I
then
think it
use
could
it.
be, those doors could be unlocked during park hours, during daylight,
Yeah.
and have it available for people to go in.
Stop and think about this for a second. I need you to kind of make a mental shift here because when we talk about pavilions, we think about the metal tables, and I don't care if it's expanded metal, the aluminum, and things like that. Now we have a pavilion being designed in this park that's going to replace the one that's over here. But are you going to want in this covered patio to have those type of tables? If you are, then to make that transition, that's a lot of labor to go out and move tables out of the way and where are you going to put them and things.
Yeah.
So what do you want this space to look like for most of the time?
My vision is not to have tables in it most of the time.
Okay. So if that's the vision, then closing the doors is easier to make it transition to those types of things. So then the question is, how many people are using our pavilion right now from say October to March,
Right.
depending on the weather?
Oh, good. Come up to the microphone.
Perfect.
No good deed.
You ask and she already knows.
Yeah.
Like last winter, October through
March.
March. And then I pulled it for Saturday versus like a weekday, and I just
Yeah.
picked a random weekday. If you exclude once soccer stops, which is October 31st-ish, you get 15 people on the weekend and you have 3 people during the week.
Who reserve it?
No, like actual users, if you draw the geo tag
Oh,
around the
people who
pavilion.
show up at the park.
At the pavilion.
Yeah.
At the
Yep.
Do you know
People-
how many people
people.
go in the pavilion?
Yes, you can draw a geo fence around it
That's
from the
amazing.
county, and that is
Wow.
what you have. So you are talking a very small number.
Are you using Placer? What is it?
A placer.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Use Placer
So-
too. Thank you.
And I think
Always
keeping it
cool.
enclosed during those months makes sense. We don't have to heat it or cool it, but it will help like when we have pumpkins in the park or when we have, Santa, we're not having to move snow and it's a protected area, but it's not heated or cooled
Unless you need it.
unless you need it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, if we're keeping it closed the entire winter months, then canvas makes no sense.
It wouldn't last very long
No, no, no,
compared to.
no, that would not.
Wally even asked the question of, well, what would it look like? And again, I'm going back to roll up doors, but what would it look like on the inside of the community room if you had a roll up door that rolled up into the covered patio? And so we walked outside in the method, and hard to blow this up, but the aluminum is pretty smooth. It kind of looks like aluminum storefront door. On the inside, it does look like a garage door. There's no question to it. But if that were on the patio side, your covered patio side, well, okay, you're in a more I'll use the word industrial. It's not a finished space. So there are things that you can decide to do. I will just also encourage you to leave some options open. So if we make a decision tonight, I just need to know square footage. I'm fine bringing back details for you on roll-up doors or folding doors or things of that nature so you can have more information. What would the impact be with sprinkler heads and things like that? What's the wall height? I don't feel pressured to make those decisions tonight because we can bring that forward. But that all could also be as we start budgeting for things. Okay, a roll-up door could be this much, a folding door could be this much. You still are going to have to make some choices financially because we're running out of headroom on how far you can go on the square footage and how nice things are. Now, again, if we're leaving some of this space open, it's not going to be $500 a square foot. We know that, but we don't know if it's going to be $300 a square foot, $250 or $400. So I just need you to all be aware that we're using the best information we have today.
So if we did these bifold doors, would you like those? Would you be okay with bifold?
Which
For the front.
For the
I think
front.
Ones that kind
I
of-
think the difficulty with that is what Rachel was saying. If they're open most of the time, then
Unless you created storage for
is
them,
there,
like,
but then you have storage in it. I wouldn't like that
And
because
it
then it's really
blocks it-
bulky and big on the
blocks
side.
it off.
Yeah, I probably would. And those are more expensive than
Yes, they're very
Those, yeah, those
expensive.
are
They're
very expensive.
yeah.
And a lot of
No.
mechanical parts that
Yeah, a lot
are
of
not
parts.
conducive to weather on both sides of them, things of that nature. Again, we need to have our professionals give us some more information. What we do know though is that there are environments. Lacey was aware, was it Tremont you said? We've seen it as swimming pools. Now, again, a swimming pool is a different environment, but it's kind of got that indoor outdoor feel to it. So it's not completely unheard of, but
What does Tree Mountain use their building for? And is it open 24/7 or is it?
Do it, and there was enough of them that we needed to pull the building, they pulled the garage doors down and that, because it was a meeting in March.
How recently was that built, Lacey?
I think the last 5 years, and that is pretty recent, I mean, it looks.
And is it open on 3 sides or 2 sides? How many sides is it open on? How did they do the end?
That's
Like-
solution.
It's a, what?
That's our solution.
That's on the end.
Yeah.
A bathroom at the end.
So theirs has bathrooms
With
on the end,
glass
so it's a
above.
wall, so the 3 sides are open this way,
Okay.
and the 4th side is bathroom.
It's not attached to another building where
No.
they're trying
No.
to go with.
So
not
on the
attached.
side that's not the bathrooms, that's like opposite of the bathrooms,
Uh-huh.
how was that finished?
It's open garage doors with pillars,
It's like what we've shown.
essentially,
So all of it was like garage doors?
yes.
Brigham City had something like this years ago when we lived there. And in the summertime, when the doors were open, it just looked like a pavilion. Yeah, if you walked in and looked up, you could see the doors. In the wintertime, they closed them and they weren't glass doors, but they actually allowed the archery club to come use it. And
Yeah.
there was a solid wall at the back that when the arrows weren't going towards glass or doors. But yeah, it was enclosed and gave them shelter to use.
Tree Mountains has a stage on it and the same type of thing, you can pull down a canvas thing and they do their archery and all the things inside of it, but it's bathrooms on.
We use it for archery.
Okay, so who would be comfortable if we're able to enclose it somehow with 2,500 square foot community room and the 2,270 of the enclosable covered patio expansion space?
I'm okay with that as long as you don't go back on your word and do canvas and not have it be enclosed and heated and cooled. Like, I don't want a bait and switch thing here where, yeah, we're gonna do this, and so I say, okay, I'm okay with that, and then to have it not happen because Public Works is already not big enough for senior lunch bunch and some other events that go on. So if I can get a guarantee that we will be enclosing it, it will be able to be used, then I'm okay shrinking the community room.
So if we do this, are we going to be dipping into the contingency fund?
I would say the answer is regardless one way or the other, yes, because we would have to have a covered patio, only probably a 2,500 square foot community room, no enclosing of the covered patio, and we're probably still going to go into contingency because of some of the other additions that we've done on the building. I don't have that exact square footage. I will work to get that as quickly as I can, but yes, we have crossed the threshold of dipping into contingency one way or another. I just don't know how much.
But by shrinking it, it would pay for.
And we create flexibility.
Yeah.
Overall,
Yeah, in the meeting, they said that shrinking the community room by 500 square feet pretty much exactly pays for the upgrades to the pavilion to enclose it. That they said it's pretty much an
So it
equal
just comes
trade-off.
out sixes.
So the additional 500 square foot helps offset the square footage on the second floor.
The
Not
what?
entirely.
Yeah, going from,
Well,
'Cause it's
from
at
the
3,500
3,500
right
is
now.
where it's kind of
Yeah.
switchy because they said, oh, we drew this at 3,000, but I don't know that they've got the square footage. So we've talked about you were at 35. If you go down to 25, there's 500 square foot
Yeah, they said the
Or
500
1,000
square feet offsets the cost of the pavilion.
pavilion.
And then if you want to look at the other numbers, but yeah,
Yep.
that's what they said.
So
And obviously it's very rough. That was
Yep.
just napkin numbers. They don't, I mean, but as you think about
but
it.
we're trying to stay on the high side of the estimate so that we aren't surprising you of going, oh, guess what? It just doubled in cost.
Yeah.
But as we've been battling over these different issues of shaving things here and there, Mike Hogan continues to remind us, you can talk about this 200 square foot here and 100 square foot there. And as your prices are continuing to go up, you're losing ground because inflation is going to take a bigger bite out of it than what you're going to save in square footage. So if we can nail these numbers down and I can go back and say, we're here, then we can start to refine those numbers and we can start moving forward on design.
Okay, I would be in favor of the 2,500 square feet and the 2,270-ish of the enclosable space.
Okay.
I can support that.
Yep, me too.
Me too.
And I don't think there's much desire to have canvas from
No
the
desire
council.
for
So I
canvas.
don't think that Julie, you have much concern.
So now we need more information on what these enclosures are, what they look like, what the costs are, and we'll get some variables on those so that we can explore.
And I can get you some pictures of shops.
So was that
we
a
visited.
head nod from everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't hear a head nod from Rachel.
No can.
that's because I didn't give you one. I still have concerns, but yes, the cost benefit sounds more beneficial to do the more flexible space.
Okay.
And we lose the partition, right?
Yeah.
We were
Partition's been
struggling
gone
with
for
the
a while.
partition,
It's gone.
right?
It's gone.
Yep.
Yes.
They
That was
did
always the
mention
hard part.
that the other partition, we may need to look at upgrading slightly because we're allowing it to open, even though we always did. I don't know how they were accounting for before, but anyway, they'll work through that. Okay. Just so you know.
Okay,
The
Okay,
next
what are
question,
what
your
else do you need
questions?
to know?
basement. Are we okay not expanding the 790
Yeah.
square feet? Okay.
Yes,
We're staying back. Second floor, are we staying with the 17-foot extension or are we going all the way out to the east wall?
I'm good with
17
feet.
17 it is.
Okay.
It would be a
Um,
sh-
We are working with the contractor and the designer to ensure that the heating and cooling system is such that we have a system that when we enclose the patio, it can be conditioned.
We can
equally to
isolate the
rest of
community room. We can expand and condition the enclosed area when we need to.
Mhm. Yep. Okay.
I wonder how
So we're
code's
all
gonna.
in agreement on that.
I don't know.
Well, that's how Public Works is right now. It has its own thermostat. So we can keep that warmer. We keep it warmer when people aren't using it.
No, but the public works is always closed. I'm saying to have a conditioned space that could be completely opened. I just don't know how code's gonna.
Yeah,
I'd like to see that, but I mean, you have garages that are like that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure.
Well, and as we come back with more information, like I threw out to the architects, oh, can we save money by not putting carpet down and doing home concrete? Because if you've ever seen that, it kind of
Mhm.
leaves, this pebbly surface looking thing smooth. And they said, now by the time you pay for somebody to come in and do a home floor,
it's about the same as
It's
carpet.
It's more expensive.
Okay, but what you do have is it's going to be possibly easier to keep clean over time, and you're not going to have spills or going to stain carpet. I've been back to Cottonwood Heights, and they're like, we hate this carpet. In fact, the police department ripped it all out and all their hallways and stuff because it just was getting stained continually.
Well, then you don't have to worry about replacing squares, and then when they discontinue it and then they no longer sell that pattern, you have to redo the whole room.
Which happens every couple of years.
Yes.
And we have moisture under the floor at Public Works kitchen that again is causing problems. So these are some things that you're going to need to be thinking about because it does change the appearance of a room. There's no question. If you were to go with a concrete, home concrete, it's a different feel than walking into a carpeted.
And we need to just make sure the acoustics are good, like
Yes.
that you can hear from anywhere in the room.
I guess I'm just going to ask the question because this is something we all have to realize. If we have children vandalizing, if we have birds, if we have all these things, and we suddenly say, you know what?
It may just
We're
have
just
to
going to
be
keep these
enclosed.
doors closed because, again, it's just not worth whatever that damage is. Are you going to be remiss that, oh man, we blew it. Now we can't use it outdoors. I just want you to think about that.
I'm not, because we'll have another large pavilion and then a couple small scattered.
Shade covers. Yes.
And there will be doors in and out. Like regular-
On this
Yeah, they'll be
enclosed
required to have
patio,
man doors.
they have to be
For
for
Egress.
egress. Yep.
Okay, those were your 3 questions on there.
Yep. You answered them.
There were 5 actually.
There were 3 here.
Well, we took care of the condition
Oh,
space.
there's
We'll
some
talk
different
more about the
questions. Yeah.
aesthetics, view. So we will have the architect bring us some different renditions of things so that you can get a more accurate view than my AI. So I think we've covered everything. Is there anything on there you see that canvas is out?
Okay.
All right.
I will not be here for the meeting on Thursday, so if someone would like to take my place.
School is
You're
the
welcome.
first day of school.
No. I
Mrs.
cannot.
Peterson is missing the first day of school.
What time is that at again?
Colin said.
It's at
And right at
10 o'clock.
Right a sub
10
fund.
a.m.
10 to noon.
Yeah, I'm
Welcome.
tied up. I could come
I
late.
cannot.
That's I could come at 11.
I mean, if you'd like to come at 11,
Come in
Better
early.
than not coming at all.
you'd be welcome.
Okay. Pencil me in.
Got it.
Okay, staff reports. Anything from those that,
Thanks, gentlemen, for being here.
Say hi to Lynn.
Yeah, called up.
The gentleman is Lynn. Lynn.
She's really cute. They've lived here 4 years. Why is there a 9 o'clock?
I don't know. Mine's been up at 9 too.
okay, I didn't hear anything that anybody needs anything else from
Oh,
staff
sorry.
reports, so.
On.
So they can see how crazy that is.
Chief, good job on increasing that enforcement.
We used to.
Make it so people choose not to speed.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Nobody wants to see my super report.
How was Night Out Against Crime? I apologize. that I was only able to be there for a little bit.
The water balls were a huge hit.
The water
Yes.
hamsters.
The water hamsters. There you go.
Some of my rad kids were late to graduation.
I did
because
not
They were
crawl
still.
into the balls after.
I think it was great for the kids, but for the staff that had to put that thing up and take it down,
No.
No,
Not so
is this a one and done?
no.
Well,
Okay.
Michelle owns it, so.
Well, yeah, but there's some things I own that have more put up once and put up again.
That's true.
I apologize if you had a straggler that just wouldn't leave, but she loved it. So thank you. She's the last one to leave a party.
Yep. It'll be there next year.
Thank you, Chief.
That's
I
good.
got out there a little late because of our meeting in here, but I mean, people were having a good time.
It looked like a very well attended.
And it seems
I have
to
a
be
hard time
expanding.
judging how many people from year to year. But it seemed to me like it was well attended. I talked with some of the officers and they thought maybe last year had more people. I don't know. I have a hard time judging that.
And I thought this year had more people, so
It seemed like they should.
It felt more spread out this year.
It
than
was more
has
spread out this
in
year, that's
past,
true.
but it
Yeah, we
seems
were-
like there's a lot of,
Clear to the east side of the park and out
Yeah.
here in the parking lot. And
yeah.
and
No,
that,
it's hard to judge.
yeah.
so Michelle has done an amazing job in expanding who she gets to come. It's been really cool to watch its growth and its reach
Yeah.
over the years. So she's doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
Okay. If there's no other comments, then we can move on to questions or direction to the city administrator or staff.
It's interesting, our sales tax kind of ended good.
What happens at the end of every year, if you were to see, and I can show you this sheet, I can't show you other information, but I can show you this sheet that says, here's your tabulation. The gross sales tax is right up there with the other months, but they have this truing up that I'd have to go back and find it, but it carves a big chunk of money now. How they do that, I don't know. It's part of behind the curtain that even we don't see, but there's this truing up that they do at the end of every year, because I've had that gasp myself, like, well, wait a second, I saw how much money was collected. What did you do with it? I want to say it was like 40 something $1,000 in this true up. So,
Okay. Well, we'll take it, right?
well, we get what we get. We also have quite a bit of money going to the oh, good heavens, homeless. Let me see if I can pull that up for you. Because it is, I can show you this information. What I can't show you is the individual
People.
sales tax revenue. So talk about something else for a minute while
May was a popular time for transient tax. Is that,
It comes from the hotels.
yeah, I just wonder why there was such a spike. Like maybe someone didn't pay in April.
Yeah.
It does
Maybe
happen
here,
sometimes.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It does happen. We've even had some of our top 10 that just because of when they turn their taxes in, it falls. You don't see it quite so much because it's a grand total, but we panic when all of a sudden there's a big gap somewhere, but it comes back. Let me get to this.
Maybe lots of people,
You're not talking about anything else, and I'm feeling a lot of pressure right here.
under pressure.
The heat is on.
Now, this year versus last year.
Sure. Did you do a geo tracking?
150 more people this year than last year.
150 more this year than last year. That's all.
Wow.
Look at
That's
that.
people
I mean,
with
when-
phones, right? That's how they geo track people. It's it's a device.
We're
that comes
not
in.
using flock.
Yeah, Syria. Yes.
So that's
so
Unfortunately, a lot of kids are carrying devices these days.
yes, that is true. They didn't
Okay.
leave them at home.
Does it
No.
count watches? Like if
No.
tracking watches?
If they,
On it, so like if you use
Oh.
maps and like track through like a night.
Or like Find My-
Garmin, it will, cause it's whatever app you allow to track you.
So like Find My Kid?
They buy cell phone data.
Yeah.
So if you had a subscription to your watch
Yeah.
specifically, then it would count it as.
Count it.
Or if you have a work phone, personal phone.
Yes.
it would
Then
count
you
it
would
as two.
count it as
You
two.
use your, so, I mean, there's some.
Are you trying to
Some
pad,
loopholes.
What's that?
you trying to pad your numbers?
Yes.
Yeah.
I count as two people.
Wants to be well counted.
I got a
He's-
a lot.
They'll never
we got a lot of people attending.
okay, you found it, Bryce?
I did.
If you can't show it, just send it later.
Oh, this is where it is, but I'm not seeing the number. I wonder if it's in the July that had the big one.
Probably so.
So here's how it breaks out.
the city collected direct point of sale, $497,000 of sales tax that's remitted back to the state.
Last, in a year?
This was in June.
Or just
This
June?
was just
Okay.
June. Of that, they take the local point of sale. I'm sorry. That is the 90 million. So they're saying, how did you get to this right here? Here's how much total sales there was in the city.
In the state, it says.
State, local, statewide. So that's like how
Oh,
much state.
sorry,
It says 90.
statewide.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm like
State-
90 million and Woods Cross that.
Yeah, that would be.
Wow,
Million.
you wish straw.
I don't normally deal with the 90 million.
Total
I jump
sale.
down right here. So the next one is this jurisdiction
Point of sale.
point of sale. So 277.
Because that goes to,
We get half
Others.
of this is just automatically remitted to us. The other one gets a haircut. And that's this one right here, the 144.
goes to the pool.
Well,
Wait a second. I'm
so
sorry.
50
Here's the 144.
50%.
Here's the 248 right here. That's the other 50%. So this is the population pool. So it's based on a population factor.
So the 248 is our half. The
Yes.
144 is our portion of the 50% that went to the state.
Yeah.
And it's based on population.
And that's to make it because we have all these car dealerships and a grocery store. Well, North Salt Lake doesn't have car dealer. I mean, they have some, right? But so to take the rural cities that have a hard time and their people go into the bigger cities to go buy stuff, it allocates a portion of that back to them.
Right.
Harriman City is a perfect example of that. They don't have a lot of commercial. Everybody drives across the street to Riverton to buy their stuff. So Harriman sucks sales tax back towards them. West Jordan.
So they get their 50%.
Talking about Placer,
They're gonna cut that.
million
They're
people.
gonna flip that down by
Depends on where the
Harriman
comma
stock.
goes.
And they'll just-
Oh, no. It
I mean,
pulled
I'm
sales tax
just saying, you already said
back.
it. That's gonna end up as a meme.
Well,
somewhere.
I said 25% population growth, and I've been wrong on that too. So forgive me.
Right. We're going to have a PowerPoint
have a
presentation
child-
next month of how wrong you were about Death
I
Yard and
already
stuff.
saw in the survey that my name was mentioned as I suck, so it's okay.
You know,
So anyway, forgive me.
So-
Let's get down here. We got the 144 is this population based thing. The 248 is 50% of the 497. Now you start going down through here. Non-nexus, I don't know exactly what that means, but $299 gets shaved off. So they're saying the total distribution is 393. But then they say, oh, we get to keep some for administrating this whole thing. Charitable refund. I don't know what that is either.
It's all
Oh,
the
this is
churches
the
and
church.
nonprofits
Thank
that
you.
file for
That's the
a
church.
sales tax
They have
rebate.
back
Yep.
Thank you,
for
thank
it.
you.
It doesn't
We're
come
3 years
come
behind.
out of where it was sold.
Yes.
It comes out of the location where they are when they request the rebate.
Yeah.
So they may have
Yeah.
bought it in Salt Lake and paid the sales tax there, but the rebate comes out of our city for those that are located in our city.
There you go.
It's just the way that it works.
Emergency.
Because when they file the rebate, they don't say, well, this much of it went to Davis County, to Woods
That'd be
Cross,
too
this much
hard.
went to Salt Lake, and this much went to Provo. It's just this total amount is the amount being rebated.
Then you have your emergency food agencies, your homeless shelter, there's your $3,700. So your final distribution is this much. Again, I'd have to go back and find, but there was one that as I was looking at, I was like, oh, that's that big one because it happens once a year where there's just some true up that they do of tens of thousands of dollars. So it might be the July one, but this is how they calculate it. And so we are a sales tax generator. So it's interesting. You, Jim, you mentioned earlier car dealerships. Yeah, guess what? They bring a lot of sales tax in, but it has part of it goes back to the cities where the people came from that bought the cars based on
That's okay,
population.
because we still get to keep 50% of it
Yeah,
plus
we
a
do.
portion of the other.
Yep.
We're better off to have them here than not.
for sure, for sure.
Agreed.
Does that help?
Mhm.
I've also seen, as you know, Brian and I are the two that we've signed our life away, that we see the individual properties, the businesses that collect sales
That you
tax.
don't
and everything
disclose all of this.
that we can't disclose. It's interesting because you'll be looking through there and you'll see these business license numbers and the names and everything. and there'll be this big negative. So one month they make sales, but then they turn around and get returns and things, or somebody disputes, that it's not sales
Charge.
tax and things. So it's pretty amazing how things move back and forth in that.
On my
it's really
Amazon.
fluid. I don't know how the
It's
state
real.
keeps up with it. But the proliferation of these home occupations and people selling through eBay and all these kind of things, it's a boom and a bust, because unless they get their business license and file with the state, they may not be remitting taxes. Well, that's taking away from our brick and mortar that would be selling. But because there are so many of those, we just haul these little tiny, $1.99 in sales tax, So it's just really interesting how it works. But until a few years ago, when the legislature made it possible for our internet sales to collect sales tax and remit that back, we were losing tons of money that way. Now that they've made that a law that, yep, if you're going to sell on the internet, you've got to collect the sales tax and remit it. That's saved us. So there's your little 101 in sales tax.
Okay. Thank you. That was interesting.
Okay. Any council reports? Jim's not been able to control all the mosquitoes.
No,
For shame.
You're gonna have to step up your efforts, Jim.
I know. Do another survey soon. Do it in December.
Yeah.
I don't know, last December, there might have been some mosquitoes out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So we did have a fire district meeting a couple of weeks ago for our truth and taxation stuff. Last night we officially had the pinning ceremony, the swearing in of our new chief. He's been our official new chief, but this was the ceremonial thing. Quite a good turnout. It was toasty. It was in the garage bay of the Station 81 in Bountiful. And at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, it was probably 110 degrees inside there. I conducted, and I figured if Chief was going to wear his dress blues with his jacket and everything, I would dress up. So I wore my suit.
Oh,
And it was
today you dropped it off at the dry cleaner.
It was toasty. People said, well, now you should take off your jacket. And I said, well, that won't do any good because I'll still look like I'm wearing my suit coat. It was, anyway, he is a good guy, and the fire district is in good hands. He's doing a great job. He's the right guy for the job. Lots of people came out to support other chiefs, former chiefs. Anyway, so that was good he does have his new, so he promoted from within for the existing assistant chief. And we have listed right now a job posting for an additional assistant chief. That was what was part of the truth and taxation process, to include that new assistant chief. He's recruiting for that, external and internal. I think it's open for another week, and then the interviews I think will be on September 2nd. So hopefully by middle of September we'll have another assistant chief announced and maybe in place. That'll be good. It'll take some pressure off, and they'll start to divvy up duties. There will be a transition period for sure. This new assistant chief, so the duties are, one of them is going to be over operations and one of them is going to be over administration. So operations is all the firefighter stuff, right? The administration chief will be over, it's going to be tasked with making sure that we have good career planning involved for the firefighters, succession planning, so that we don't end up in a situation where, if for whatever reason something happens, the chief is eventually going to retire. He's got enough years in already, but that we have people coming up through the ranks and having experiences and planning and training to be ready to take over. So we're excited about that. They're going to formalize a process to do that. Because he promoted from within, that has made it so that there's kind of a cascading effect of other promotions. He took a battalion chief to be the assistant chief. So then a captain gets promoted to be a battalion chief. a firefighter gets promoted to be a captain. So
Hmm.
it opens up possibilities throughout. So I know our chief has had interactions with them, and he's a good guy. He's doing a good job. So everything else is coming up. I missed our rec district board meeting because I was out of town, but um, I did get one thing, and I'll share it maybe at our next meeting. I got a report from the rec district that shows the participation by cities in our different sports programming. So like soccer, volleyball, flag football, junior jazz, broken out by cities, and it was interesting. They've done it they mapped it out for the last 3 years to compare. So that was we in a lot of them are the second highest number of subscribers in those sports. Bountiful is always the highest, but they're much larger population wise. So our folks utilize the rec district's programming, and so that's all from me.
It looks like the league has released their conference dates,
Yep.
but it's a
Just saw
Tuesday
it
and
today.
Wednesday.
Yeah, and it's
But-
in late in October.
October 27th and 28th.
Yeah,
I was gonna have, we're gonna send that out and let you know. I just saw the heading on it with the legislative or the LPC or the Friday facts and went, oh, okay, it's time to let everybody know. So we'll get that out to you and you can decide if you can.
That's interesting that it's a Tuesday.
What happens at
Wednesday.
this conference?
So this is kind of like the one in St. George, only they hold it here in Salt Lake.
Mhm.
Is it going to be at the,
it's usually the
Salt
Salt
Palace.
Palace Convention Center.
they used to herald it at the Sheraton Hotel, then it moved to the Salt Palace. But isn't the Salt Palace going under some big remodel?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I didn't open it today.
This
We'll
Labor-
get
doesn't
that,
say.
yeah.
Maybe they don't know you.
They used to
Does
make
not
it
say
a
where.
3 or 4 day conference and then it just kept getting smaller and smaller. I think there's just not as much demand and interest. So I don't know. They've adjusted it.
Is it worth writing a sub plan for?
Similar classes, but not the nice weather. So I don't know.
Go to your other one that you were on.
You're debating to find a substitute.
It's a lot of work to write 2 days worth of a sub plan, so.
I would say that, and we'll have to look at the agenda, but the second day is normally a lot of
It's at the
pomp and
Salt Palace.
circumstance kind of thing with like big lunches and things. Normally it's the first day that has most of the classes and
Okay.
things.
So it looks like they're switching it.
Oh,
So it's Partners in Planning and Recorders Day is Wednesday, and full convention is
The Tuesday and
Tuesday.
Wednesday.
okay.
and Wednesday. And the tentative agenda, which I'm surprised they even have, because normally they don't have anything until
Really
a few days
close.
before. So general session and workshops,
Lunch, more general session, more workshops, more
desserts at
workshops.
the Capitol. And
Okay.
And then their business session on Wednesday.
Okay.
So
What time does it end though? On Wednesdays it end like at 2 o'clock
on
or something?
Wednesday, it ends at 4.
Oh, so they're having some more classes or things after the.
Yeah, they're
the
having
session.
some more workshops, 2 more breakouts after the lunch and the business session.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Lacey, thank you for an awesome summer rec program. I've heard great things from students and the things that happened at the school, the Little Caesars Day, that was insanely awesome.
you
So
had Little Caesars Day?
for summer reading, yeah.
How fun is that?
With
Do we
the-
need a closed session?
We do.
Okay.
And thank you for doing the social media post about being aware of our littles and kids heading
Yeah.
back to school. Hopefully people will heed as we head back into the chaos of life.
School zones.
Okay, I'm ready for a motion to go into closed session.
I so move.
So,
I'll second.
sorry, let me
Yeah, we can
make
read-
sure I'm
read the
official.
And then I'll move.
This is according to Utah Code 52-4-205 for the acquisition or sale of real property, deployment of security systems, pending litigation, or to discuss the character and or competency of an individual. And we would adjourn directly at the end, right? We would not come back into open session.
I don't believe we have any reason to
Okay.
come back in.
I so move now.
Okay.
I'll still second.
Have a motion from Rachel and a second from Julie. All in favor. This one we will go
Yeah,
individually.
Aye.
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 All right.
May-
Thank you.
May we have.
It's unanimous. We will